And it's for profit. Profit. And in order to make more profit, they would have to exploit this group of people. Marx went even further. He said just by time alone, you don't need any intervention. Just time alone means that all of the proletariat would have to overthrow the ruling class. See what happened in the 60s. Why we lost the battle in the 60s. Why you never hear nobody talk about the 70s. How many of you people here talk about the 70s? Nobody. Everybody said, boy, in the 60s. And here we are in the 80s. You know what I mean? Nobody talk. Because in the 70s, those whites regrouped and wiped us out. You see, here's what happened. White women saw their men in trouble. And like all female animals, anytime the male gets in trouble, the female will attack. That is a law of nature. A law of nature. If you don't believe it, we can prove it in a zoo anytime you want to. Now, what happened, white women came out and captured our women and convinced us that white women were not as racist as white men. And convinced us, or convinced our women, that they would place them above their husbands, their brothers, their lovers, their children, their sons, and we say, then the white gays came out and convinced our gays it was a gay struggle. And stole our gays, you know. Okay? White students came out and grabbed our black students, said it was a student struggle, and wiped out our black students. And all of a sudden, we have to wonder, where's the fight? You know what I mean? It's not about. So now they're coming up with books such as book is The Declining Significance of Race. Brother named Wilson wrote that book, who is the chairperson of the Department of Sociology at the University of Chicago. That's very revealing. Because out of that same department came who? Black bourgeoisie. E. Franklin Frazier in 1939. That is the Chicago school where you show. So what Wilson is saying, this brother wrote this book, The Declining Significance of the Race. And race is declining in significance, and now class becomes important. Of course, Wilson is the only black in the Department of Sociology at the University of Chicago. That's one reality. The other reality, he has a white wife. Now, race declines every night for him. You know, look, I mean, that's what it's all about. That's why. Because they've never been trained to kill whites. Therefore, blacks don't even ask for being paid for 262 years, for 250 years of slave labor. We have never even asked them to pay us. Even we say, oh, they don't owe us nothing. The hell they don't. They owe us blood and nothing else. I mean, what other group of people? What other group? Listen, you gotta listen, Carol. You clap if you want to. But listen, what other group of people in the world, you know, like us? We're the most forgiving people in the world for other people, but if your sister wear your dress, you're a shooter. You will shoot her. If a brother step on your foot, you will shoot him. That's menticide. That's menticide. People keep asking, why do blacks kill blacks? Why do we treat each other so bad? Blacks kill blacks, why? Because they've never been trained to kill whites. Therefore, it's outside their freedom. You kill and you love people you've been trained to do that too. We have been trained, and we've been trained not to love black folks. We've been trained to kill black folks like everybody else.
Tonight on The Patriot Factor, we are here with special guest Darren Coates, pastor of New Love Worship Center. Pastor.
Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Thanks for coming. So, $10.5 million in property damages since the Brady trial ended. You have a question for those angry black protesters out there.
The question I have for those protesters is that, do black lives really matter? And I say no. Black lives does not matter. They won't not matter. And they can't not matter until black on black crime is eliminated.
Wow. Preach, preacher.
Blacks is confused. Don't nobody know what to do. Confused. What I'm gonna do? Am I gonna raise a fist? Or am I gonna march? Am I gonna march? Or am I gonna take a knee? Riot. Loot. What? And you know what the answer is, Sarah? Prayer.
Yes, Lord.
Prayer, Sarah. I get down on both knees. 2 knees, not one.
Yes.
And I pray. I pray that the same God who saw us through the middle passage will see us through this.
Amen.
Amen, sister?
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. Yo, what do I see now? First Rifleman in the building. But yo, what up? But anyway, I'm gonna come back on here, and first of all, my bad for yesterday. I know y'all probably mad or whatever, but it's a reasoning behind it, and I'm not even gonna get into all of that today because I promise I'm gonna stay on topic. So, like, I will put the link in there, but if you have to stay on the topic. So if you're gonna be talking about something else, I'm gonna be cutting you off. Like, we're gonna stay on the topic today. You know what I'm saying? And so my bad about that yesterday. I let it get the best of me. So, well, not the best of me, but I let that my wanting to troll the trolls like kind of go. So, but my bad. But anyway, and the thing is, I want to talk about something because and oh yeah, by the way, if my internet, been messing up like crazy, I don't know what's been going on the last week or so, but if it drop out, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna come back on. I'm gonna try to come back on through my phone, but so I don't if it go down and I go out, you know what I'm saying, just remember that I'll be back. All right, so and yesterday we was talking about the laws of nature, right? And I really want to talk about the same thing everybody was talking about, which is why I kind of, got off of it and, did something else. But we looked at the laws of nature because we don't even understand the laws of nature. But even when we look at ourselves, and this one I was kind of low key hoping like, Matron to be here because, I probably shouldn't, be trying to troll her, but just messing with her because I like her ideas. So like, but I hope that she be listening and she can come on the part, what I'm saying, that I'm gonna be talking about because it's something that we got to look at our nature now, what I'm saying, our side of the coin, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if it's like love or it's just this spooked out nature that we have. You feel me? So, and by the way, I meant to say this. The other channel that I use when this channel get a strike, they just put a strike on that channel on like for a video from like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and but they tried to put a strike on that one. They didn't even say why. They just said, "Yo, you got a strike on that one." So if I get a strike on this one, then I'll be back with the Black History lesson. You know what I'm saying, as soon as I can. So I had to put that out there too. But just so I'm not on here for a long time, I know y'all probably tired, but it's something important because I didn't want to just talk about the thing yesterday, but even today, you just gave me the reason. Um, no, it ain't have nothing to do with no shysters and nothing. Um, yeah, it wasn't no one. It was on my other channel, or the other channel that's on here. So, all right, let me get into it. So, first of all, let me show you this, because he said in the movie, he said it right. You know what I'm saying? What is we gonna do? Is we gonna march? Is we gonna pray? You know, what we gonna do? You feel me? And you know, during this time, right? This was the 60th anniversary of this March on Washington that Martin Luther King and them had back in the day. And we understand everything that's happened from then to now. Like Bobby Wright said at the beginning, you can only talk about why nobody talk about the 70s? What happened in the 70s? You know, what happened in the 80s? Well, people talk about the 80s, but you know, we go back to the 60s all the time, right? And let's see how far that this has got, because they said no, this is not a commemoration on marching. This is saying we continuing the march. You know what I'm saying? So we've been marching for 60 plus years. You feel me? So let me play this.
Rights. Joining me now, Martin Luther King III, Andrea King, and Yolanda King, activists and family of the late civil rights icon, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's an honor and a pleasure to welcome all of you this morning. Martin, I'd like to start with you. In your father's I Have a Dream speech, he said that he dreamed of the day that his children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. 60 years later, we're here. Do you think that that is the reality for Black Americans in our country?
No, I do not think that that day has arrived yet, tragically. We should be further than where we are in our nation around a range of issues, certainly from income and inequality, where Black families, white families in America have over $175,000 saved up. Black families have less than $10,000. That's just one of many metrics where we must work to realize the dream.
Andrea, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was such a major victory for...
Now that, you know, this part, they leave out a lot of stuff, how he started having to change the attitude towards the end as far as like, yo, this burning building stuff and we want our money and all of that, you know what I'm saying? And he was talking about how the peasants came over here and were lifted up by the, you know, that's their reparations, because they be like, oh, well, they got free stuff. You know what I'm saying? The white middle class was made and it could be taken away at any time too. All the middle classes, but we understand how all that works, you know.
For the civil rights movement, but in the years since it was signed into law, that legislation has been gutted. So how has the fight for voting rights changed in the 60 years since that March on Washington?
You know, I can't help but reflect on your first question when you talked about the part of Dr. King's speech when he talked about his 4 little children. Because our daughter who joins us today, Yolanda Renee King, is the only grandchild of Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King. And at 15 years old, she has progressively lost rights since the day that she was born. She was born, we are seeing laws that are being passed that are, instead of lifting people up, are trying to limit our
So has the teaching of Black history. What do you make of states like Florida attempting to whitewash Black history?
Well, I think that we're in a very keen time in history right now. And I think that we also need to go back to what happened in 2020. We saw that there was a lot of people showed up to vote and numbers that we had never seen.
It's not a commemoration. So how urgent are the issues that are facing all Americans today?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, let me play this part, you know, because, you know, we love everybody. Or is we scared of everybody, one or the other?
A continuation
That this country will take.
Martin, organizers of today's event have made it a point to call the 60th anniversary a continuation of the fight for civil rights, not a commemoration. So how urgent are the issues that are facing all Americans today?
Well, the issues are so challenging, I should say. we've never seen. My dad and mom talked about eradicating the triple evils of poverty, racism, and violence. When we look at poverty numbers, they are higher than they should be in this great country. If we look at racism, it is at an all-time high. Racism against everybody. Racism around black folk, around Jewish people, around Islamic people, around Asian people, and even around.
He like named every. Well, I guess he forgot white bitches. They a minority group too. You can't forget them. Throw them. Might as well throw everybody in there.
Native Americans. This is a better nation than
Indians.
maybe we're exhibiting. First of all, we had to figure out, how do we come together? How do we bring civility back to the political discourse? We used to be able to disagree without being disagreeable, which is what my father and mother taught. But now we're at an all-time high.
Now, unfortunately, and this is not to say what he's saying, but we're getting a reflect about what happened. He was like, you just heard. I'm gonna play that one part again, all right? When he's talking about peaceful.
Disagree without being disagreeable, which is what my father and mother taught. But now we're at.
Now he was like, they taught that you could disagree without being disagreeable, and that's what they tried to do. But they shot him right in the face, right? They tried to kill him so many. They arrested him so many times. And we sit here today because another part of that 1965 thing was the immigration joint that they threw in on the end of that, you know what I'm saying, where they switched the whole, because it was a plan, and it wasn't the peace talks that was getting it done, right? It was the Watts riots in 64 and all that, or Harlem riots, riots throughout the country where black people was fed up, and the police do something. And they was like, nah, that's not, you're not doing that. And the whole community would show up, right? And they would shut everything down over there. Now, even with that, you make that with because that's the other part of the civil rights that we're forgetting, the part that made it work, is like, for example, right? This is an example. When Malcolm X went down there to like Alabama, he was like, yeah, well, if you don't listen to Martin Luther King, then you're going to have to deal with me. And I'm not going to say that turn the other cheek stuff. I'm going to say we shoot back. And then they listen to him because they forget that whole side of the game when they talking about it. The force that you got to put behind it that we have constantly done, and I believe we will do again. But as long as, like, you got to be in this, like, yeah, well, the Asians and the shysters, small hats, whatever I'll call them small, the hook nose shysters, you know what I'm saying? All of these people, you know what I'm saying? Asians, and we love everybody. We want to bring everybody together.
An all-time high. We must ultimately, my dad would say, learn how to live together as brothers, or we might perish as fools. While one does not want to.
Man, and how many of we're not fools? How many times do we gotta perish to realize that we don't be a fool no more?
Time high. We must ultimately, my dad would say, learn how to live together as brothers, or we might perish as fools. While one does not want to see that, it is up to us to come together. And that's why we have such a broad coalition from labor, from the African American community, from the Jewish community, from the LGBTQIA community.
Oh, can't forget them. Can't forget the LBG, because they can't even say it none of the times. But we can't forget to give our resources to them too. All right, it's crazy. Like Bobby Wright said, the students came in and convinced the students it was a student struggle. The women came in and convinced the women it was a women's struggle. The gays came in and convinced the gays it's a gay struggle. And hell, I guess the straight, it was like, well, it's a straight issue, straight male, straight women issue. You know what I'm saying? No, it's only one thing. We at the bottom in all of this stuff, right? You can't join MGTOW, so you got to make your own, right? But why are you even joining them? So,
from the Asian community, from the indigenous community, and we're coming together to say we must create the climate for America to move forward in a forward direction, not a backward direction.
Andrea, your husband Martin talks about that diverse coalition of multicultural groups, from LGBTQ community to immigrant groups to the AAPI community. What are those honest conversations that are taking place to create the tie that binds these groups so that we can get the strongest coalition in that fight for equality?
Well, I have to say that on January 6, 2021, this nation witnessed an insurrection. Today, on August 26, 2023, we're seeing a resurrection of democracy, a resurrection of us standing together and coming together. You're going to see today the great tapestry of diversity in this country.
Wait, what resurrection? Like, what resurrection of that? I don't recall it ever being alive to be resurrected. Like, it didn't die, it was never born type stuff. We don't even know that this is possible if it can be born because it hasn't happened.
We were intentional in all of the organizers in Drum Major Institute, NAN, ADL, to ensuring that we have everybody represented here. We're seeing the best of who we are today. 200 plus groups. You're seeing all communities standing together, all generations standing together.
Yolanda, you're still too young to vote, but you're already so involved.
All right, so, I'm going to stop it right there. But, what can we do to get equality? I ask you, does it seem like love to you? Or if not, I'm blaming us being spooked out. I don't know what's going on. Right, and I know y'all probably boycotted me for yesterday, but it's all good because I'm not even going to say it, right? Even though I probably should, but y'all will get the point one day, right? But it's okay, they be getting mad, but, it's cool. All right, so let me show this, right? Because now this just happened a couple hours ago that it popped up, like, so, and they're reporting this thing, like, because even, my brother Black Magus came on here and was like, yo, when you see that, what do you think they're going to do? Well, the same thing they've always done. You know what I'm saying? How they'd be like pinky in the brain. What are we going to do today? The same thing we've always done today. It's a law of nature, right? The thing is, though, if you don't do anything, you'll just be constantly beat down and, you losing your life. I would rather that not happen, right? Because if you haven't been aware, they have stripped everything and got us at the bottom, and we gonna criticize each other for every single thing, right? No matter what anybody does, is going to be some kind of criticism, right? Successful, unsuccessful, but that doesn't matter. You just got to stay in your lane and do what you do. You know what I'm saying? And it'll all work out, So understanding the laws of nature, right? We see like 60 years of marching, right? Where are we at the end? Hate, wealth, or whatever. What was the three thing? It was they wanted to end the hate, the gap, like within like disparities within services and industries, and economic wise. And I forgot the third thing, but we ain't got nowhere in 60 years. But that's just to keep on marching, I guess.
Yeah, Ben, Sarah, Lieutenant Governor Bysuit says the state is seeing an alarming increase in racist and white supremacist events across the state. And today, she's calling on both Bristol residents and city officials to take a stand against the hate.
Why do I have to be afraid to walk in my own town?
Myra Barrios Sampson was stunned when she saw these photos from a white supremacist group's demonstration last week in her town.
I only live literally like a mile and a half from there. What would happen if I was to drive to the store to go get milk or something?
The Bristol native joined Lieutenant Governor Susan Bysiewicz and community advocates Monday, speaking out against a recent rise in racist behavior.
I do not feel safe anymore. I do not feel comfortable.
There were 207 white supremacist propaganda incidents statewide in 2022, a 115% increase from 2021, making Connecticut 9th in the nation for these incidents.
We want our state to be welcoming, to be diverse, to be inclusive, and to be free of hatred of any kind.
The Anti-Defamation League says about 1 in every 10 Connecticut communities was targeted in 2022, with white supremacist flyers appearing across every region and size of town and city.
How much more can we take? And the answer is we don't know.
What? The answer is supposed to be like no more. You're like, I don't know. You just gonna have to find out.
Can we take? And the answer
city.
How much more can we take? And the answer is we don't know. But let this be the breaking point in which every single person here takes a stand and says no more.
Monday, advocates called on the mayor and city leadership to address these incidents, saying Bristol hasn't done enough.
If our city leadership is not going to take a stand against this type of behavior, then we will.
Bristol's police chief present at Monday's press conference, and while he didn't want to speak on camera, he says the department is still actively investigating last week's incident.
All right, because welcome to America. You feel me? Now, so this is on the heels of that. And this is not to for you to not be scared. It's for you to be prepared. You know what I'm saying? Because they have propaganda machine. We see that we fall for the propaganda all the time. And I guess it's way easier with the internet now. And we listen to their propaganda all the time and can't analyze for ourselves, But it's not for you to be afraid or anything. It's for you to be prepared. And you definitely want to be able to protect yourself anytime, quote unquote, exercise these rights that you say we have, you know what I'm saying? And definitely carry your firearm just in case. You never know, anything could happen, at any time. And the point is, just to not have casualties, and to be able to protect yourself, because that's where it starts. Starts at home, bro. All right, so now I was playing this yesterday, but I didn't really want to talk about it. And the only reason why I'm playing this, because now this is, and I do wish Matron was here for this part, because that's a question. I don't want to, put it out there like that, but is this a law? Is this a law of nature with us? How we respond to stuff. So let me play this.
Is investigating the deadly shooting at a Dollar General store that's in Jacksonville on Saturday. They're calling it a hate crime. The gunman seen here was white, and he obtained the guns legally, authorities say. All 3 victims were black. President Biden condemned the shooting, saying white supremacy has no place in America. Manuel Bojorquez is in Jacksonville with more on the story. Manny, the shot of this guy walking into the zoo is just chilling.
It's horrific. Another difficult morning here in Jacksonville. Good morning to you, Gail. We're learning from authorities that the gun 2017, but he was released and he had evaluation back in 2017. Had been involuntarily committed for a mental health evaluation back in 2017, but he was released and he had no criminal history. So he was able to legally purchase 2 weapons. He's now accused of murdering 3 people.
All right, so they was they forced him into some mental health facility, but they let him go. And this is when we be talking about when y'all be saying the stats, because y'all don't even take into account if somebody shoots somebody and doesn't get convicted or arrested, is that a part of the statistics that y'all use? Y'all don't even see how flawed any of this is, But I don't know, maybe it is, because y'all definitely do that, not knowing. Never mind.
In times like these.
Just steps from the scene of the deadly Dollar General store shooting in Jacksonville, hundreds gathered Sunday to honor the victims and voice their outrage.
We cannot tolerate it.
Among the 3 people killed was Gerald Gallion, who was shot as he entered the store. He leaves behind a 4-year-old daughter.
How do you even begin to explain to her what happened?
We haven't.
You haven't?
She doesn't know yet.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We're trying to figure out the words to tell her because she was a daddy's girl.
LaTiffany Gallion is the victim's sister.
He was a loving guy.
He
was a devoted father. He'd do anything for his daughter. And for him to get up and wake up and his life get ended, it's not fair.
Surveillance video captured 21-year-old Ryan Christopher Palmitter walking up to the store just after 1 p.m. Saturday and taking aim at his first victim in the parking lot. Authorities say he wore a face covering, latex gloves, and a bulletproof vest under his shirt. He was also armed with 2 firearms, including an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle covered with swastikas.
When you see him walk out on the sidewalk and he points that gun at that car, he fired 11 rounds at that car. He did not give any warning. He just did it.
Authorities say during the shooting, the gunman, who lived with his sheriff.
All right. And like I said, I ain't want to talk about this like too much, but this part right here made me have to like, because that's the thing. Like, I ain't want to talk about it just to be talking about it, but this, I'm not gonna lie, this part kind of bothered me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It made me want to talk about this.
In times like these.
Just steps from the scene of the deadly Dollar General store shooting in Jacksonville, hundreds gathered Sunday to honor the victims and voice their outrage.
We cannot tolerate, will not.
Killed was Gerald Hind, a 4-year-old daughter.
Gave his life to Jesus. See, and this is the thing, and this is kind of why I wish Matron was here, because I know that she is in this kind of lane, you know, especially where I'm about to go with it, right? Because like my thing is like I don't get into what people believe, right? But if your God is like the same God as this, or let all of this stuff happen to you, right? Like we may want to consider looking for one that wouldn't or would protect us or give us the strength to protect ourselves or do something. You feel me? Like if they not gonna do what they have to do to protect us, maybe, or especially if it's the same one as, you know, if you have the same God as the KKK, like, or even the same God as the cop, you know, or whoever it is, or this dude, white boy here, right? Because, well, you know, then I guess it'll be like he's atheist or something. But if you have the same God as them, a lot of them is like Christians, you know what I'm saying? And it's not about like the Christianity thing, but if you got, because it's not just about that, because it's about all of them, you know. If your God don't have your image and have you in a place of success, you may want to consider, you know what I'm saying, relooking at it. And then we sit here and we still continue to sing and march. That's one thing that we're going to do. Like it's going to be nice, you know what I'm saying? Like but come on, like we still doing the same thing, you know? And like I said, this is why I wish she was here, because I mean, this is in the church, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to ask her the question, you know, is the churches effective these days? Should they, or like whatever, you know? So let me play some of this. And singing songs like, you know, and it's okay, you know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, but if we got to keep singing these kind of songs, you know what I'm saying, for these kind of reasons, I'm like, yo, all right, now what's going on here? Like, at least ask a question or two, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, the one thing that we do is going to have church, you know what I'm saying? But we not even using it for effective reasons anymore, effective ways or reasons. We don't even have that mindset no more. You know, what's going on, Bakari? And Bakari, I was hoping that, you know, because I was kind of going in matron lane, maybe trolling her a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But if you got an opinion about this, Bakari, because you missed the first thing with the marching, you know what I'm saying, MLK and all that. But listen, look at this. I ain't want to talk about this. That's kind of why I got off subject yesterday. But I was watching this today, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Just like, you know, this is what we do.
In times like
Right. So I don't even want to play that no more. Right. But this is us, man. Is this a law of nature with us? We gonna pray? Well, we might meet him sooner than later. We're gonna keep holding hands and praying. I'll tell you right now, we might meet Jesus sooner than we think. It's not used effective no more, Bakari. That's what I'm saying. And this is why I wish Matron would have been in the building, because how is these churches effective anymore? Like what the world is going on? Why are we just sitting here holding hands, crying? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Because hate still exists. We're gonna pray. We're gonna pray, and then we're gonna sing God be with you until the end, and then we're gonna be with him. Maybe.
And I also want us to be clear that yes, they will try to sterilize what happened and blame mental health issues, but racism is not a mental.
And Bakari, let me know if you want the link. But if anybody else come on here, like it's gonna be strictly about the topic for this one. I ain't gonna be on here super long. But you know, it is what it is. But it really is like, you know, a Saturday for me, so I'm good. But and Bakari, just let me know if you want the link, and if anybody wants the link, whatever. I'll put the link out there. So yeah, if you come on here, this is about this topic and nothing else, you know what I'm saying? And we ain't going into all the other stuff. Yo, what's going on? Oh man, Matron is in the building, Bakari. We might be in trouble. This is really for Matron to come on here, because I was asking Bakari, you know what I'm saying, is these churches effective these days? Like, what is going on? And if we still praying to the same God that's messing you up? Yo, what's going on, Matron?
Hey, Forecast, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's good. Now, what are you talking about?
Oh, so okay, because I'm just now getting into it, right? Because this is the part I wanted you to come on here. So I'm talking about this Jacksonville thing, right? And I didn't really want to talk about it, but this kind of, when I saw this, it made me feel some type of way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me show it. So this is what we doing here.
Times like these.
Just steps from the scene of the deadly Dollar General store shooting in Jacksonville, hundreds
Lord,
gathered Sunday to
Lord,
honor
have
the
mercy.
victims and voice their outrage.
We cannot
Let's see.
You haven't. She doesn't know yet. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're trying to figure out the words.
His daughter.
Because she was a daddy's girl.
LaTiffany Gallion is the victim's sister.
He was a loving guy.
A loving
He was
guy.
a devoted father. He do.
Find a
And this guy.
4-year-old daughter.
How do you even begin?
And talking about he gave his life to Jesus, you know what I'm saying? But if we keep, like, you know what I'm saying, and not doing nothing, like, what if we should consider, like, a God that'll represent us and, like, not let us get smoked like this bad, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know what you think.
Yeah, we need to be worshiping a God that represents us, that's going to be vengeful on our behalf, that's going to represent our interests. Worshiping the God of our oppressors is just about mental illness. I was watching something. My aunt is really into stuff like that. And my niece is 12 years old. And she was watching something called Deliverance Ministry, where people think they possessed by demons, and so they flailing all over the place, making weird sounds and stuff like that. And my niece was like, are these people mentally ill? Is this what a nervous breakdown looks like? And yes, Christianity is self-harm. Yes, it is a mental illness if you're not going to use the book to liberate yourself. If you're only going to use the book to forgive people that do you wrong, to excuse the unexcusable and inexcusable, it's self-harm.
Yeah, I agree with you. And this is my thing. This is why I'm asking. And maybe it's love. It could be love. But I think it's a spooked out thing that comes with all of this stuff that we be doing. I'm not saying I don't got spooked out things, but I ain't gonna say it's healthy either. Because she like, so, and let me show you. Of course, it's more singing, more church stuff, you know. He said, we're going to pray, and then we're going to sing, God be with you. And we're going to keep singing and praying. We're going to be with them sooner than we think we are.
Yeah, because if you don't defend yourself, then you're setting yourself up to be a target. And we've been setting ourselves up to be a target for a very long time. Unfortunately, there is a universal God. And because we can't reconnect because of all the distractions and our inability to organize a system to get to the universal God, we have problems, and we keep going back to the biblical God or the gods that they talk about in the Bible. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and beat up on the people, but I mean they doing the wrong thing because it's all that they know how to do, and I feel bad for them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yo, Bakari, you just came on here. What's going on, my brother?
Going on? What's up, Queen Matron? How are you?
What's going on, Brother Bakari? I'm okay. How you doing tonight?
Absolutely magnificent, black and beautiful. I ain't as beautiful as you, of course, but I'm still black and beautiful. But
Absolutely.
Hey, Bakari, hey,
I
real
was gonna
quick.
put it in check.
Hey, hold on, real quick. Hey,
Go.
my bad. I meant to say, shouts out to Highly Favored, shouts out to Raw. I appreciate y'all coming through. But yeah, go ahead. My bad.
What I was gonna say is right. We can make fun of the church, but this is what I say: the black men in the community have allowed some of the weakest of the black men in our community to take control of our revolutionary tools. And instead of getting involved, we talk, and I'm guilty of it. We talk about what they do or what they don't do. We talk about what they do or what they don't. But back in the day, some of our bravest men was inside the church. Y'all think those people, those men in the church back in the 50s and 60s was in church just to be worshiping Jesus and talking about church? No, those men were there using it as a revolutionary tool. So as far away as all you got to do is just start looking. The far away black men got away from church, the less the black church started doing. The less the black church fought back, the less the black church did for the community. Because black men got away, especially the revolutionary black men. So my thing is, and I've been telling people, and I mean my son, he'll laugh, but I tell him I'm going back. Not because I believe in Jesus gonna save me or anything like that, but that was our revolutionary tool. We can either let the weak people have it and complain, or we can step up into something that it's a building that we actually own, where we hold our meetings, and we can go in and we can make a difference. If that's where the majority of our people are, especially our women who need protection, if that's where they are, because they need our protection too. So we should be there as well. And like I said, we can do the timeline. The further black men got away from the church, the further the revolutionary minded, strong black men got away from the church, the less the church did. That's the one building we always had where we could have our meetings, where we could have everything. It's not a coincidence that you can do studies and you see how the black church used to fight back and do all of that, into where now the church don't do anything. Yeah, they used to hold hands and pray then too. But in the process of them holding hands and praying, and you would see the women doing that, they had strong black men making plans. If it's a tool that can be used, we have to learn to use the tool. On that note, I yield my mic.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree how we used to do all of these things, you know what I'm saying? But that, like, number one, they used a lot of churches that like, especially starting back then, because that was the only place where they could meet at, you know what I'm saying? It's not anymore. We don't want it to be, but at the same time, even then, Bukhari, still a spooked out spirit with it, you know what I'm saying? They all, even like most of us were, you know what I'm saying? These, not, and there's no offense to nobody's religion per se, but like, even back then, you know what I'm saying, there was a lot of spooked out stuff, you know what I'm saying? A lot of talk of just equality and not domination and control, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to go to hell, you know what I'm saying? Like, at least have the right ways to put what hell is, you know what I'm saying? Which is like, if you go against this, you're going to probably like be in a situation like we in now, which is already in this situation. Not after we die, we here now, like where we about to, you know. And I think all of that stuff comes with it, you know what I'm saying? I think it's spooked out. Maybe it's love. I could be wrong, I guess. But I understand what you're saying, and I agree, like it could be that tool, but it's not anymore, you know, and we can use whatever we want to now, you know. But you know, I don't know if
But
Matrix
like
want to
I
say.
said,
Go
it's
ahead.
not that because men ain't there no more. That's why I say you can do the timeline. When men left, the church left. But I came back, what his name? First Rifleman say he in the back.
Man, I ain't trying to let First Rifleman on this jump.
Oh, okay.
Nah, cause we did all that yesterday. I ain't trying to go low left field today with all that stuff. But go ahead, and I ain't trying to make it long either. But go ahead, what you were saying, Bukari.
No, I was just saying men. I was just saying the men ain't there no more. That's why I say you can look and see when that church fought back and they did what they did, men was there. Then if you look now, the men is not there. And I used to make fun of the church real bad. But then I can stop and look at the mirror and that, you know, and I had somebody get upset with me while they was beating on the church. I asked them, so what's the difference in the people in the church and the people that's not going to church? The people in church is praying and not fighting. The people that's not going to church is complaining about the people in church praying, but we ain't fighting either.
Right. Yeah, I know this is our response. Maybe it's the law of nature that we respond this way, like we always done. I don't know. Well, you got some like mentoring. I said.
But we didn't always respond this way. You know, the Deacons for Defense, the fact that, you know, some of our most revolutionary leaders and thinkers used to do their speeches at churches. I agree with Brother Bakari, and I think that mass incarceration and some of the other things that they've done to decimate our community have taken away the strength that was our church. So all that was left were the weak, weak men and the ones that wanted to sell you a dream. And it feels good to escape. Even on Shoot the Breeze the week before last, when they had the young lady who used to be really revolutionary in her thought, she got lost in that book, and now she's sitting there talking about aliens and Jesus and all this other stuff. And it's like, that's not going to help our people. That's a form of escapism because the reality is painful. And I feel like Moana Haguziki, where we need to stick with the pain so that we can stop the pain. Because if you realize that you are living in hell right now, then you will do things to ensure that your descendants don't live in hell. That's how I feel about it. So whether it's love or loathing, I don't know. But I know that going the route that we've been going with the church thing hasn't helped us because we don't pick the empowering narrative that it is. We always want to forgive, thinking that that's the only message in there, and it's not.
Yeah, and and that's kind of my point. We get lost in the sauce out here. You know what I'm saying, a little bit. And let me play a little bit because I'll just show a couple things because I don't want to hold y'all on here too long. Until he meet Jesus.
They will try to sterilize this and say that in our communities, there's more black on black violence. But let's be clear, that is a product of systemic racism.
Now they said it was something. I ain't got the right one. It was like they had 5 prayers: one for the victims, one for the representatives, and one for like peace, hope, and something like, I guess, love or something. But that was their 5 prayers, And then of course they had this old white mayor chick speak about this,
Kids kind of calming them down. They were really scared, crying, and just letting them know that something like this isn't going to stop us from going to the Dollar General. We're still going to go to church. We're still going to go to school. We're still gonna do what we're gonna do, and we're not gonna be afraid.
It sounded like I know disrespect to her. I ain't talking about her, but it sounded like a clone saying that we're still going to do what we programmed to do. And we are. And I'm not talking about just the church or whatever, Bakari. It's all like, because that's all we're doing. Like, this is like no different. Like when we come on all of these things talking about it, you know what I'm saying? And like that's why I didn't really want to talk about it yesterday, but it's like how we respond and how I be looking at the docile nature that we have. I'm not saying that brothers wasn't fighting back, but ultimately it's like in self-defense, which is like right, you know what I'm saying? But like understanding that owning your own stuff is self-defense. Like, yo, like if we need to do whatever we got to do to maintain our lifestyle, you can classify that as self-defense too. You don't got to be like, well, it's or I guess people would say is a sin or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like things that I think that is in our head that's gonna stop us from doing what we got to do when we say certain things. But I don't know what you think.
I think that she just said, like you said, I'm going to do what I'm programmed to do. I'm still going to support your social structure and your economy. I think that we have to own and control these different things ourselves, because would they be going to the Dollar General if they had a black owned store to go to? Probably. Would they be going to the church if they had an alternative and were more connected to their nature and their spirituality? Probably, because it's what they've been programmed to do. And until you can break that cycle, you're not going to be able to disrupt the system.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What you think, Bakari?
She gonna still go to Walmart and Dollar General, and they gonna still go to church. In the process of going to those places where she should have said, we gonna go and we gonna have our guns with us. I understand you saying you don't want nobody to stop you from going shopping, stop you from going to church, I guess. But your response, our response to people killing us can't be, I'm gonna still go here. So what? You can't stop me. It's almost like you can come in here and kill us again. And what going you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But right, the woman shouldn't be speaking on that. They probably went and found her, seeked out. Should have been a man talking. And I'm not saying a woman don't have the right to talk, but I'm just saying certain to show, we have to start showing strength in our men. And our men, let me in on my computer.
Okay.
So I can get out here.
All right. You can hear me?
Yeah, you can hear me now, right?
All right,
Can you
yeah.
hear me, for guys?
Yeah, you good. It was an echo.
Oh yeah, my phone was still on. But yeah, so what I'm saying is when it comes to stuff like that and we showing strength, our men should be talking, right? We should. I'll give you an example. When I like the church get a bad rap sometimes, and sometimes it's not a bad rap. But I'm gonna give you an example. How many of y'all seen that movie, Mississippi Burning? You seen that movie? Y'all seen that movie?
Yes.
Okay, so y'all know the story of the two Jews and the black dude that was killed down there, right? So now watch this. They showed one time where they went in the church and attacked some people in the church. One time. Now, the reason I mention that, with me being from there and have people who know people and who's involved in these things, the church then, right there in Philadelphia, Mississippi, something they would never show on there. Those people, that white boy, me say that the black dude and them two Jews, when those people came down, they were staying in the church. And the reason they were not attacked in the church, because black churches used to have 24-hour armed guards. They knew they could protect their property. That's why they waited until they was out at night by themselves and they went against the rules that people told them not to do. So I'm saying that to say this, the point that I'm making is back to what I said earlier. When the strong men left the church, and I didn't even factor in mass incarceration like Matron did. When the strong men, some removed, and then some removed by law, some of us removed ourselves. But when the men left the church, that's when the church stopped standing up. Now, the men that left the church come out and we talk bad about the church, but we ain't doing nothing either. And I ain't saying that's why you showing this video to try to make fun of the church, because I understand why you're showing it. But right now, I'm just talking about the people that just always, everything is the church fault. And the reason I'm gonna say it again, the reason I said I was going back to the church, not because I just believe so, have all this faith in Jesus, because I don't have a God that would punish me for all these years for something that we allegedly did back in Egypt, way back when they were still building pyramids and stuff. That's a damn punishment for God, for some people that he say he chose, right? But y'all still there?
Yeah, we still here. We can hear you.
Oh, I can't help you. But what I'm saying, for brotherhood, and I know the churches to go to. I'm not going to Creflo Dollar Church. There's no need. I am going to F. Keith Slaughter Church because there is a need, especially when you have a pastor of a church telling you, bring your people here and let's do armed training inside our church. You can have my building forever for whatever revolutionary meeting that you want to have. You can have my building. You can come whenever you want. I got another one who was he was once NOI, now he a Christian preacher, but he had the same type of doctrine as F. Keith Slaughter. So for me, I'm going back to as Dr. Slaughter. So for me, when I say I'm going back for that, not necessarily to talk about I'm worshiping Yahshua, whatever, however you say their name. Not to say I'm going back and I'm worshiping that. I'm going back. Okay, but Shanique, it's not necessarily meant to, and I don't mean to offend anyone, because I normally defend religious people for the most part, believe it or not, as folk as. But I'm going back for that reason. And I think more of us need to go back. That's just my take. I ain't telling nobody that you should go. But I think more people who want to see a change in our community, if you can find a church with 100 members and they got a revolutionary mindset preacher, and you see they have a food pantry and they are out every week giving food, giving groceries to the people in the community 3 days a week, or the people can just come to the church whenever and say, we need this. And the church take their money and grow a community garden, and everybody that live in that community can come get those fresh vegetables. You ain't even got to be part of the church. I don't think we should turn our back on something like that. And I think that's the type of church we need to seek out if you decide to go back. And if you decide to go back and seek out a church, so then those type of churches can link up. I might have carried on a little bit too, so I'll yield the mic.
Well, I can agree with some of what you're talking about. I guess my only problem with going back to the church, because I've thought about it, is that they get lost in the book and in the stories, and people like to hear the stories. And it's all about the production and the show. Even with the small churches, they want to be mega churches. And Jeremiah Wright said mega churches are not designed to meet the needs of the people. And you know, I can agree with you. If you go to a church, then go to a church that is going to meet the needs of the people. I personally will deal with my own spirituality because I revere the Black family. I think that the reality is that that book is witchcraft. That not literal witchcraft, but it gets people caught up in the uh, fantasy of what it is to be a Christian and what it is to worship God. And there are some magnificent things in that book, but it's like if you were using Hollywood to tell the story. So I, you know, stay away from the book, but I hear you on going back to, you know, support somebody that's doing good work, but it's just so hard to find somebody that's doing good work. And on that, I'll yield the mic.
Hey, 4K, let me say something right quick. You are right, matron, it is hard. But when I find a church, they got the red, black, and green flag as wide as the porch on front of the church. They in there preaching and they reading the Bible, but they also had the statues of their African gods behind them too. And saying, you understand what I'm saying? They had they have statues of West African gods. They're talking about Yeshua, you know. And my thing is, they and everybody in that church, and when they talk, that's what it's about. They're gonna talk Africa. They're gonna talk about us coming together. They're gonna talk about all of that, and that's why I say I would go back to that church or a church like that one, simply because of the things that I see them doing. Like you said, the needs of the people and the needs of the people. One of the things we always talking about getting ready, we always talking about having a candy bar with peanuts, but there's no need to have a candy bar with peanuts if you don't know how to use it, if you have not if you haven't had any training. And this church want to train, and this church want to do that, and the church raising the red, black, and green flag, and so on and so forth. And that's what I've been looking for. So if I go back to church, that's where I'm going. On that, go ahead, folks.
Forecast, you there?
I was mute, my bad, the whole time. But yo, I agree with both of what y'all was saying, and I was sitting here agreeing, thinking y'all was hearing me agree. But like the thing is with Bakari, you know, with what you're saying, like if you can use a church, you know, not to say like use a church, like what that's what it's there for, I guess, you know. But the thing is, it's not just the church; it's like the mindset that comes along, even with that, like, you know, what like kind of like not to say like or like because you could believe what you want, but like even with Khalid Muhammad, one thing that he had, right? The dude asked him, he was like, yo, I believe in such and such God, you know what I'm saying? The God that most people believe in. Does that make you my brother? You know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, well, it makes you my brother by faith, but not by struggle or whatever. But no, you ain't my brother at all. I ain't got that to hold me back either. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing, like the mindset that comes with it. Like, because I don't want to get deep into it, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not an expert like that, you know what I'm saying? But there is certain tenets that they take out of context, you know what I'm saying? And they be like, well, in order to be this kind of person, you have to live by X, Y, and Z. And I don't agree with that, man. We should be like forget that. We making our nation and we do whatever it takes to make it happen. Like they got the Catholic Church, but they'll sleep with little boys all day long. You know what I'm saying? I ain't say do that. I'm saying be willing to protect your stuff all day long, you know. And they did be willing to protect their stuff, but they also had to live by certain rules. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying when it comes to that. And y'all can say what y'all want to say, but I want to show the last couple ones on this topic real quick, and then hopefully y'all, But I wanted to get y'all opinion on this. All right, so I guess this is something I can see.
Tia Cause is on your side with.
Ringing out in this church this morning were calls for an end to violence and for the community to come together. This church just blocks away from where that mass shooting took place at the Dollar General on Kings Road.
about Democrats. It's not about Republicans. But we have 3 people that are dead. Dead. Because they're Black.
Sitting in this church were 4 Edward Waters University students who said they were on campus and saw the shooter before he left and headed to Dollar General. The students said they were too shaken up to talk on camera. Church leaders prayed for the victims' families, law enforcement, and the Jacksonville community.
Now the community is in an uproar, and that is something that we have to work together rather than being apart.
Mayor Donna Deegan gave an emotional speech saying she is sorry
I hope
for the
this one.
community.
But today, more than anything, something happened again.
All right, this not even the one. Let me and y'all can let me see. So Jacksonville, they
time,
heard,
especially one to
through,
cover all
they
of
empower everybody through prayer.
those
You
who are
know,
just
through
feet
all
away
of it.
away this congregation at St. Paul
More
following Saturday's
singing and
deadly
stuff.
shooting that claimed 3 several prayers
to these words, to listen to these words.
Several prayers spoken, including one for this group of students. David Jameson is a history professor at the school and taught some of the students who were too shaken up to speak on camera today.
They're overwhelmed and pierce our minds and move into our souls.
Oh, when is he gonna do it? Like,
This service included
my
5
bad.
specific prayers. One for the families of the victims who were killed, one for the community, peace, hope.
But we also need you to be the wind at our back. Push us in the right direction, pull us in the right direction when we need it as well.
And for these elected officials who all sat on the front row from the state and local levels.
It is time for us to tear Satan's kingdom down.
Willie Barnes Jr. is the pastor of the church who wanted this service to bring healing.
Don't allow those lives to be taken in vain. That we need to build coalitions of people who are committed to having dialogue, having conversation, engaging in meaningful action across race, ethnic, religious lines.
I squeeze joy into their hands.
And prayer was necessary today. We need to keep praying. But as I said previously, there's more we have to do. Faith without works is dead. We need to.
At least he said that part. Faith without works is dead. Because they said that 4-letter word. Now Obama, all he got to do is come and be like, "Yo, yes, we can. I bring hope back to you." One of the most poisonous words some people would say. But and of course the integration, like your white brothers and sisters in faith. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what y'all, because most of Black people is not turning down, like, you know, because, well, what would Jesus do? You feel me? But I don't know. What you think, Matron?
No, they're not turning away no white folks if they believe in that. But the problem is that they need to. There's an imbalanced power dynamic when you have integrated spaces and integrated relationships. And, you know, at least like you said, he said faith without works is dead, and they had the mayor there and they did this and they did that. But the reality is that until you get up off your knees and do something, then nothing is going to change. Nothing.
Yo, it's funny. You missed the thing at the beginning. I played the movie clip. He was like, "I'm gonna get down on both knees and pray." He was like, "Not one knee, both knees." But I agree with what you're saying. Bakari, what you think?
Faith without work is dead. But I don't know what kind of work. I don't know what faith they want. I don't know what they got faith in, and I don't know what kind of work they are talking about trying to do. And see, and that's the thing. That's why I get back when people who got the revolutionary mindset left, we allow people like him, and I don't know this guy, and he could be saying the politically correct thing, but we allow people like him to be in charge. But watch this, right? Do y'all wonder why y'all on this stay on YouTube? Now ask yourself why YouTube, because I didn't see a lot of people play this. I think I was the only one that played it. And it was down within a month. But when the guy in Milwaukee, when they did the riots in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it was a preacher, and during his sermon, his exact words during the sermon, they talking about we burning up our community. We ain't burning down none of our houses where we live. We don't own none of these stores, so burn this motherfucker down. Who gives a damn about it? Why didn't that stay on YouTube long? And why didn't our people play the pastor standing up saying that? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We play him, but you can't find it no more. I ain't saying nobody, but I'm saying it literally was it stayed on YouTube like a month, and it was complete. You can't even find it nowhere. You can find that preacher, and they show him giving a sermon after the riot, but they don't ever play the part where he say, "This ain't ours. Burn this motherfucker down." You can't find that part no more. So it's a reason they're gonna let this play and not let the other one play. On that, I yield my hold on. Shanique, I was just about to put in the chat that I wasn't trying to debate. Explain your purpose. What you think the purpose of the book is. I'm glad you put it in there so I can read. Go ahead. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Oh, y'all having y'all in the chat. All right. So I'll play this last one for this thing right here.
Bring remarks.
It's in Florida.
The councilwoman.
So they booed
I got
him.
you. Don't worry about it. We've already been looking to identify funds to be able to help. One, make sure there's adequate security for Edward Waters College. We are not going to allow these institutions to be targeted by people.
Okay, listen, y'all. Let me tell you, we finna put parties aside. Cause it ain't about parties today.
Parties.
A bullet don't know a party. So don't get me started. Okay, Jacoby is nice, but Ann is not. Now, if the governor wanted to come here and he bringing gifts to my community, y'all know I'm taking the gifts because we've been through enough already, and I don't want to go through no more. Now, y'all just be quiet just a minute and let the governor say what he gonna say, and we gonna get this party started. You hear me?
Praise Jesus.
Okay, let's do it.
Praise Jesus.
So we have already identified funds from the state of Florida. I've been in touch with Dr. Faison. We're going to be announcing some stuff tomorrow morning, which I think will help not only with security, but also an attempt to help these families. The fact of the matter is, you had a major league scumbag come from Clay County up here, and what he did is totally unacceptable in the state of Florida. We are not going to let people be targeted based on their race. We are going to stand up and we are going to do what we need to do to make sure that evil does not triumph in the state of Florida. And that means we are going to work with Edward Waters so that they have whatever security they need. In Florida, we've already given a lot of money to Jewish day schools because they've been targeted with anti-Semitism. Well, let me tell you this. You are not going to target HBCUs in the state of Florida and get away with it. We're going to hold you accountable. We're not going to let it happen. And we thank what everybody's done. TK, the mayor.
So now everybody probably going to go on the HBCU circuit and the black churches across America and make the same speech so we could get a vote. So he's talking about some damn parties. I don't know what party she's talking about, but
she was talking about Democratic and Republican parties.
No, I know, but I don't know what she's talking about.
Did you have a problem with what she said?
Yeah, the black and white. Yeah, how much?
She was talking about
how much we gonna get?
No, I was just asking. Did you have a problem with what she said, talking about the governor coming to bearing gifts? So she gonna take the gifts?
Kind of, yeah, a little bit.
Why? I didn't.
Because number one, it's hey, you got an echo too, Bakari. But yeah, number one is like it's election time. That's like what they do. He's like making an election kind of thing, you know. Like we don't recognize like the same game like that's been over and over. Now, I'm not saying if they do give funds or whatever, then you know what I'm saying take it. But like, you know, maybe that particular HBCU will get like a couple more security guards or something like that. But I'm just saying like the same dude is the one who's like, well, I ain't gonna say he's the one because it's been like that, but I mean, is he not like, like you know, trying to rile up people like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just feel like an election thing. Like, he's like, yo, I have these N words voting Democrat, Republican for 300 years. You know, maybe I don't know. That's just my opinion.
You know, I agree. He probably is down there because it's probably election season. But what I ain't saying is he come take any damn thing he given.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They always say they're going to do. I'll be like, yo, even when they be like, say, tell me something, I'll be like, I believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I got you, but I'm just saying. I got you when you say you believe it when you see it. I got you. I understand. But what I'm saying is, if they're coming to give something, shit, go ahead and take it. That's all I'm saying. Don't, don't. Cause see, this is the thing, right? When I say that, cause right, I don't see a difference in taking something from him and taking reparations from this country. I don't see a difference in it. He's an excellent representation of their country. So if we're willing to take reparations from this country and he coming to bearing gifts, I don't see a problem with taking his gifts. I'm not saying jump on his bandwagon, but shit, if he got something, take it. Use it to build you up. Like Shanique say, he just giving crumbs. Probably, but I'm gonna use those crumbs to make a whole cake.
Bakari,
I'm just saying if you got that type of mindset.
Bakari, and like for like number one, that's two different things, and I'm gonna tell you, I could tell you why it's different. But number two is like he's saying like most of the time these funds and all of that stuff is for people of color and all of these things, you know, like they have specific ways that they do it. And I'm like I said, if it is funds, like then take them, you know what I'm saying. But like when you talking about like first of all, like what are you gonna do, like help us like get strapped up, protect us? Like he's literally doing all of this stuff. Like I don't know what it is that he's saying that he's gonna do. Just like, you know, like all of the stuff that they say they're gonna do. Usually it's for all children, you know what I'm saying? Not for, he's not racist. He's not gonna do stuff just for black people, you know what I'm saying? And that's number one with their stuff, you know. And I think that is two different things, you know what I'm saying? And by the way, reparation is not just like money, like what most people would say. Like it could be a lot of different things. And I'll just say we shouldn't even be paying taxes. That's one of the things that should be in there, like that. A lot of things could be in there. You know what I'm saying? Like that'll change the like whole like structure of it. But also it don't have to be, you know, they said the Civil War was reparations. Well, they are short on the debt. So, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm gonna say. But Matron, what you think about this?
Let's not gloss over the fact that he said that they're doing this for the Jewish community, that they already did this for the Jewish community. Okay. Let's not gloss over that, because they talk about how they can't have anything specifically for black people. They can't have anything specifically for black people. And we keep hearing that, but they do specific things for LGBTQ. They do things for Jews. They do things for Hispanics. They do specific things for Indians, for all of these other people. But when it comes to black people, we can't get anything specific. So I feel like, you know, this is a slap in the face, a drop in the bucket in what's owed and what they need to be doing. I mean, because we're getting the leftovers, because all these other communities already have their protections built into the law and their set asides are already set up. This is just something extra that they're doing just because it's election season, just because they probably, like many other states, have extra COVID funds that they need to spend. Let's really think about this. You know, they're doing this as political theater, you know, and she's sitting there trying to chastise the audience because they feel a certain way. And I feel like she should have just, maybe she could have deployed a security guard to keep them quiet if that was what she would really had going on. But she shouldn't have got up there saying nothing, talking about, let's just accept the crumbs. That's like Big Mama coming out, whooping you, talking about you go to school and you get that good white man education that they trying to give you when you know it's wrong. You know in your gut every day when you hear about these founding fathers that something is wrong. So I have a little bit of a different take on it. Yeah, take the money or whatever. Okay, fine. But don't sit up there chastising me because I feel a certain way. There is a way to do that. And for her to publicly get up there and say anything to the audience like that, she's putting her political career at risk. Or her social career. I don't know if she was the preacher or if she was another elected official, but she's putting her career at risk.
She was city council. She was city council.
Yeah, elected official. Yeah.
But see, this is my thing. Okay, when I said I didn't have a problem with what she said, I'm just talking about shit. He bearing gifts, take whatever. Because I was going to come back and tell you, I didn't like the way she spoke to people. So I absolutely agree with that. When she say Jacoby is nice, but Ann is not. Like you talking to your children.
All right, be quiet. Listen to this good white man for 2 minutes.
But shit, I'm gonna be honest, motherfucker. Pardon my French. They giving, I'm taking. If we want something to be done about them, about people doing something to us, they ain't gonna write nothing in law. Even if they did write something in law, a piece of paper ain't gonna protect us. In all honesty, that is something we're gonna have to do. She went out on a limb, trying, like Matron said, trying to chastise. I'm just talking about it. She said, we've been through enough. He bearing gifts for our community, so I'm gonna get them gifts. That's what I was talking about. I agree with. That was it. But the way she handled it, no, I do not agree with the way that I do not agree with the way that she spoke. I do not agree with the way that she spoke to people. Not at all. Even though I know Ann is not nice, but Jacoby is. I don't know who she was at that time, Jacoby or Ann.
Well, yeah, I feel. Oh, my bad. Are you done, Bakari?
Yeah, I was mute because I forgot you told me I got an echo, so I was muting.
Yeah. Every time you unmute it, it'd be like an echo when somebody talking. But yeah, that's because Matron said it exactly without, like, she came out there like Big Mama, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm tired now, y'all sit down and shut up and listen to what kind of stuff he's gonna give us now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like maybe we'll get cookies this time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my thing, Bakari, like, would you now vote for him so you can make sure that you get like these funds and stuff?
Hell no.
Right.
I ain't talking about voting being political and all that with him. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Hell, Ron DeSantis, shit no. Matter of fact, whatever he giving, I'm taking, trying to figure out a way to poison his ass with it. It's shit.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the thing is, I agree with what you're saying. But like, the thing is, he'll be like, well, I gotta wait until the election to what I could do with it, and I gotta get reelected to get what you gotta. Like, that's like they hustle us every day on our jobs. Like, they hustle us all the time, and we just like take it and eat it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you understand, but like a lot of people gonna be like, well, maybe we just needs to vote because no matter, they all bad, so we just needs to vote to get the Democrats out instead of having. If you going to vote, then you better have your own people that you putting your money behind. But since we ain't putting money behind anybody, we can't expect too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I ain't saying like local elections or if you voting to fix your pothole on the street. I'm just saying like most people will be like, well, just vote down the thing one way or another. You know what I'm saying? Because the Black Republicans ain't no different. They just went to a different plantation. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Well, make sure. What you go ahead, Bakari?
I don't think Ron DeSantis gonna try to get no black folk to vote for him. I don't think he feel he need a black person to vote for him. But with her, like I said, you right. I don't know if the question was asked. You coming bearing gifts. When are we getting when are we getting these gifts that you say you coming, you bearing? So don't try to tell me 2 years from now. No, I need mine now. And Matron, I did catch that when he said they have already done this for they have already done this for the Jewish community because of the hate they're getting for anti-Semitism. So you did it for them already. So if you already done it for them, why haven't you? Well, I already know, but I think this question should have been asked. Why haven't you already done it for Black people? Because nobody in this country have ever been treated like Black people. You know, but I'm a firm believer once we start shooting them, once we shoot back, I think they're gonna that's just me, but you know, that they catch you in a vulnerable position. It ain't like they out here attacking people that they go on a Dollar General. Ain't nobody expecting nothing in a Dollar General. They run up in a church, or they go kill a lot of old people in Buffalo, New York. So those are the people that, if you look, that's their history. They always catch the vulnerable. That's their history of dealing with us.
Yeah. Make sure you want to say something.
No, they're going to continue to attack our vulnerable populations because they know that head to head they would never ever be able to withstand. That's why they come and they, it's three of them to one black man. Like even that Alabama thing, he had a whole crew with him and still couldn't overpower that black man. We have to get to the point where we believe enough in ourselves to not accept what they have to offer. But if we have to accept what they have to offer, who's going to oversee this money? Who's going to do the allocations? Is it just this one HBCU or is it in all places where Black people are? Because the shooting did not happen at the HBCU. That's where he tried to come to, right? And the security guards kind of scared him off or whatever. That shows you right there that he's a coward. So he went to a public place and went to go do his crimes. Well, who's going to oversee these funds? And how are they going to ensure that not just at the HBCU, but every day living your life Black, you're going to be safe? How are they going to account for that? What are they really going to do? I'm just saying, like, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because the security guards at the HBCU, they did their job. So how are we going to make sure that every day while being Black, people are safe?
Exactly. Yo, see, and Matron put it exactly how I wanted to put it, because she's exactly right. And that's all I'm saying. And yeah, Raw, if you let them feed you, tell you sick and promise to heal you, they'll make you sicker. And might as well lay down, and I understand what Bakari is saying, like, because that's no different when I be talking about the nonprofit. Is there funds that are there to be met, what I'm saying, then go do it. But at the same time, like, he's using this as a political thing. And yeah, even though this is like because a political official or whatever, what I'm saying, it's like the same thing with the churches. They let them in these places, like we let them into our communities, like, which was once a safe haven, but now it's not. All right, and Matron, I want to show that because I wanted to ask you a question. I wanted to show that video you have on your channel about the mega churches. Is that cool?
Of course it is.
All right, so I'm gonna play that one. All right. And then, because I want to ask you a question about it. All right. There we go.
I want you to listen to what this pastor has to say about mega churches.
When you were growing up in the church, did it fulfill your needs? Because today, now, I don't go to church because
smaller
it doesn't
churches
fulfill my
do.
needs.
Smaller churches, in my experience, do. Mega churches can't. That's not what they're designed to do. But smaller churches do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mega churches are wealth extraction centers playing on and preying on people's need to hope for a better tomorrow. Mega churches are wealth extraction centers preying on desperate people. Mega churches are wealth extraction centers that take resources out of the community that they are supposed to serve.
All right, and I agree with that, and you kind of answered it, in there, but because I was going to ask you, like, what are mega churches supposed to do, but also what are these smaller churches supposed to do, and do you think that? Well, I mean, of course, anything is possible, but do you think that it is plausible or whatever the right word? Because more likely, or y'all know better, y'all know the more accurate word to describe. But yeah, so what do you think, though, Matron?
Okay, so right now, smaller churches are trying to emulate and copy what they see mega churches doing because they want the pastor that's got the big flashy car and the nice house. And even in the 90s, when I was growing up in the church, they would say things like, I'm giving my donation because I can't have a Cadillac, but at least my pastor can, because people felt like they had a connection to this family or to these people. But you have to take it a step back and say, wait a minute, a church is really a place where you can and I let me be clear. I'm not down in all churches because I think that religion is an economic tool. It's an economy organizing tool. Spirituality is something different. That's when you're getting closer to the creator. I think that people have confused religion, church or churchianity with spirituality, and that this confusion has muddied the water. If you get together with your friends and family and you say, listen, we're going to sit down and we're going to tell each other cool stories using this book, and we're going to use the principles of Mayat, which are enclosed and enshrined in this book, in an attempt to get closer to our higher selves, then that's something different. You know what I mean? That's what you can use a smaller church for. But you start those things with your family and friends. If you don't have a direct connection to the people that you have a religious or spiritual affiliation with, then you're just wasting time. You're just spending your time spinning your wheels. So that's what I think.
All right, I feel you. I understand. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and making it, do what it do for you and yours. What you think though, Bakari?
You was talking about smaller churches. Uh, you have to deal with the churches, but I can show you several smaller churches that do for their community. It just so happens that they are small. And whenever I talk about the church, if anybody ever heard me, that's what I say. If you're gonna deal with a church, deal with the smaller church. Now that's me. That's what I would rock with. I wouldn't want to be a part of no mega church. But but I still say it's something we need to deal with. We really, in my opinion, we really truly have to understand and have to be able to get past a belief and get past. I don't believe in this. Jesus is a fairy tale. However you want. We have to really be able to get past that to deal with our people, so we can build the things that we need to build. Because it's like it's like a beef to. This is not the first time Black people had problems with the church. If you read the book, and I'll tell you to read the book, but you read the book, Miseducation of the Negro. He talked about how a lot of people, they would find Black men that would become preachers because they were lazy and didn't want to do nothing, and how those people, some of them, they was trying to figure out a way to, I guess, to rip people off, I guess, to beat people out of money. But at the same time, there were also churches that didn't have that. There were churches that was doing stuff. And just gonna almost fall back on the same thing. Like the great Dr. John Henry Clark talked about how he went to Baptist church. But Marcus Garvey was a Christian, right? My pops was a Christian. I don't think he believed that stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, go back and look and see when strong men was in the church. Look and see what the church did. When men left the church, you can see the church didn't do anything for the community. And it ain't even about your belief. If you're trying to build something and you want to take control in your community, it ain't even about if I believe in the church, about what is the church going to do? What can the smaller churches do? It's supposed to be, my opinion, what are we going to do? What can we do? What can we do together? See, I still say we have to look in the mirror sometime at ourselves and say, what are we going to do? It's us together. Because right now, it's almost like when you look at our community, it's Black people versus the church. It's Black people versus the Black church. But it's supposed to be Black people together, including the ones in the church, including the ones that's in the church. And so that's why I say when I talk about church, I always talk about dealing with small churches, because you will find small churches with 100 members or less, and you can go see what they are trying to do or the things that they do for the community. Like the churches I talk about, all they preachers still got jobs. They get up and they go to their 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and they'll come to church on Sunday. Because they are not there trying to get filthy rich off the church. They're actually there serving their community the best way they know how. And when you feeding people, if you can give people food and clothes, you are doing food and clothes and give children supplies for school, you are actually doing a good service to the community. That's just my take on it. I yield the mic.
Yeah, I feel you. And like Ross said, Nat Turner was a preacher, and that is the truth. All right, so let me do this because this is one last thing on this topic, right? Because I did want to show some. I don't want to take y'all time, so I understand, So I'm not gonna really, but I'm not even gonna play this video, right? But I'm gonna play one more after that. But this one was about is the Black community ready to forgive? Because I better not see no acts of this, because if you remember the last couple times this has happened, they have went out and said, we forgive you, let's see if y'all remember. There was oh yeah, y'all remember this dude. He was like, please please let me hug her.
Publicly forgave her. I know I can speak for myself. I forgive you.
Did you know what you would say when
I looked at her, rage.
Elisa Charles
do the same?
I don't know if this is possible, but
please.
Can I give her a hug, please? Please?
Did you?
Now, I can't call him a Christian or not, but that seemed like the Christian thing to do. But and this, like, they was talking, his sister was like, no, I still don't forgive him and stuff like that. But she was like, I support my brother and you should all too. But I disagree with you, because that's like, I know that's your brother and all, but so anyway. And then of course you had the Buffalo shooter asking for your apologies. Dude tried to attack him.
Very sorry for stealing the lives of your loved ones. I cannot express how much I regret all the decisions I made leading up to my actions on May 14th.
Oops, my bad, he said, And then, of course, with the Buffalo shooter, because you remember that was just last year that they did this.
I asked Peace about how the man who was so loved and trusted in the church community would have responded to his killer.
The gunman was clearly full of hatred. Do you think that Deacon Patterson might forgive this man if he were able to?
The Bible tells us to forgive. It tells us to forgive. I can't speak. He's gone. He's gone. But if surviving, yes, I would say yes. I would have to say yes. And we're going to have to forgive the gunman, because we're here.
the son of.
All right, so if you had a Nat Turner preacher, I may reconsider it, but it's not a lot of Nat Turners no more. But I'm gonna play this one last one. This is Bishop Talbert Swan. I don't really know him, but he's talking about activism and the role of the Black church. And I want to get y'all comments on this last one.
You are extremely vocal about the rising tensions, the racism that is happening, and not only are you vocal, you are an extreme organizer. So as we look forward to as we look at the attacks that are happening on our community, are there ways that you're seeing that we are not organizing?
Well, I think we're trying to utilize every facet at our disposal in terms of organizing. Um, Social media, quick way of getting the word out, gathering our people together. Collaborations are extremely important now, as you can see with all of these partners that are here today. But what I think we suffer from is what they suffered from during the civil rights movement is there's not enough of us that are on the ground. When people look at what happened at the March on Washington and things back then, they think it was a lot.
By the way, that was the very first thing. Both of y'all missed the March on Washington thing. And they was like, this is not a commemoration. This is us saying that we're gonna keep on marching, and this is not us stopping. We're gonna keep marching. But yo, and shouts out to Cassandra in the chat. Like, yeah, Cassandra, you gotta listen to the beginning because Matra and Bukhari was going in, you know what I'm saying? I don't like, I ain't want to cut them too bad. I'm just joking, y'all. So but let me play the rest of this.
A lot of folks, but the reality is it was a very small fragment of our community that was actually doing the work. And it's something that we see all the time in the church world. We always say 20% of the people do 80% of the work. We've got to increase those numbers. We've got to get people who want to do more than be social media justice warriors and hit the ground running to actually put in some sweat equity to make some things happen. And if there's one thing that I would encourage that we would do different in terms of our organizing is to gather our community and get people to commit to 5 hours a week, 2 hours a week, commit to writing a check to this organization or supporting that organization, because the more we support our organizations and the more we're on the ground, the more work will get done and the more we'll move the needle towards the justice that we're seeking.
Dr. King said in an interview that one thing that made it a little easier organizing the bus boycott was that Black folk were in churches. So it was easy to get to us there. Do we face that challenge now, and what do you see as the role of the church?
Well, the Black church has always been the prophetic voice of the Black community. The Black preacher was always regarded as the freest person in society because he didn't derive his livelihood from the broader community. It was Black people who took care of him. So he could speak freely to the concerns of his constituents. We see a lot of that being compromised now. And we've got to get back to changing our message, or at least making sure that we incorporate our message, a liberation theology that says that we are here to empower our community, to speak on behalf of our community, and to be that one-stop shopping. The church was where you could go and your young people could get trained. Your people who had what they considered menial jobs in society could be important people in the church. Where else could you go, the late Bishop O.T. Jones would say, and be the janitor here, but be the head of the trustee board over here? So it gave them a sense of empowerment, of inspiration, of self-worth. And we've got to get back to that, empowering our community, ensuring that we are that place, that hub of where our people can go and get whatever they need. And that's the role I see of the church.
All right, so yeah, what do you think about that, Matron?
It sounds good. I mean, he's telling some truths and some things are out of context. In the church, you could be, important. There are no big eyes and little U's. There, you could be a maid and a janitor in your real everyday job, but at the church, you the head usher, you the head of the mother's board, you this, you this, you that. It sounds good. James Cone, which is one of the books we're going to read before the end of the year, Liberation Theology. is one of the things that we have to get back to, because it's supposed to be a Black liberation theology that we are preaching if we gonna use that book. But it's so difficult to get people beyond the spookism and the story that they think that you're speaking against God if you put Black people in the center of it. If you take it back to Jesus is just us, if you take it back to it's about my bloodline and my family or the people that I'm directly connected to versus this broader spirit of adoption that says everybody that confesses Christ is supposed to be my brother and I'm supposed to forgive, forgive, forgive. Even Jesus didn't preach that. You know what I mean? And Paul didn't preach that either. Paul was trying to reconcile families. That is your first duty of reconciliation is the family that you were born into or the family that you have been adopted into. So I don't know. It sounds good though, you know, for them to get back to a liberation theology, for them to get back to centering the Black people on Black issues, for the preacher pastor to be the the prophet or the mouthpiece of the Black community. But it's so difficult because everybody is caught up in the toys, the trinkets, materialism, and trying to outdo the next man, that it's difficult to know whether or not they'll ever get to that, but it sounds good.
I feel you. I feel you. It does sound real good. The stuff that I understand that 100%. And let me ask you, do you have the forgiveness stuff? That's old and stuff. I don't know if you have an opinion on that. And then the March on Washington, like if not, you know, it's all good. But you got an opinion on either one of those?
You know, I believe that I was told to forgive and reconcile with my family, not the people that are my open enemy that have shown me their malice. God, and you know, let me also say this: forgiveness on some level is for you. Forgiveness is a personal decision, so you're not sitting there thinking about revenge every day. I get that. But restoration and putting that person back in a place where they could hurt you and giving them the power to impact you, and actually forgetting what they have done to you, all of those things are not things that I can do. I'm not going to forget. I'm not going to restore you. And really and truly, I'm usually not going to forgive you. I'm going to get past it. I'm going to move on. But you can't forgive someone that's not asking for forgiveness, and you can't forgive someone that has done the unforgivable. If you have taken away my family member, or if you have accosted or molested a child, or if you've done something that is unforgivable, I'm not going to forgive you. I'm going to continue to seek out ways so that I can have peace. And whatever it is that I have to do to have peace is what I'm going to do. But you are my enemy, and I'm never going to forget that. And the March on Washington, I don't have any thoughts or opinions about that.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that 100%. And that's why I wanted, because you understand what I'm saying. But Bukari, and by the way, dude was like, please let me hug her, please. But Bukari, what you think about all of that, my brother?
I agree with what that preacher was saying. You get way more done in the streets than you get done on social media. That's just a fact. The proof is in the pudding. That's why I always say pound the pavement. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the work. You're going to get more people that would become a Jehovah's Witness regardless of what y'all feel about them. Going to become a Jehovah's Witness because Jehovah's Witness out there in the streets talking than people on social media, unless you're scamming on social media, unless you're insulting Black people on social media. Because you can get some people to follow you if you're insulting Black people on social media. But actually trying to get a movement done, trying to do something, you get more done in the street. I absolutely agree with him 100. Can I go higher than 100%? 148.9%. I absolutely agree. That forgiving shit, nah. I was never taught to forgive like that. Even if I read the Bible, I don't think I read that part. But I read the part that say, there's a time to hate, there's a time to love. I don't do the forgiving thing. No, I wouldn't forgive. Now, people ask me, people have a problem because I say I don't hate them folks. I don't hate them because I don't concern myself with them. I love Black people. So my goal is to focus on my love for black people. Because when you hate somebody so much, you tend to act like them. Just listen to people that say how they hate white people, and they're never around white people. They're around black people, and see who they take their hate out on. They're not taking their hate out on white people. They're taking their hate out on black people. Calling them the N-words, telling them they're nothing. That's who they take their hate out, because they're not around the other people. You hate them so much, well, you can't focus on the love that you have for your people. So that's why now when you talk to me or you talk to Forecast, Matron, or people in the chat, so now your hate is gonna come out at me. Your hate ain't gonna shit. You can just listen to social media. The hate that black people say they have normally just come out at black folks. It don't come out at the people they say they hate. They hate something so much till you have become what you hate. And people ask me that question all the time. Do I hate white folks? And the answer to that question that I always give is I love black people. And people can take it how they want. Now, as far as the march on Washington, when MLK marched on Washington, that don't bother me. People march. Now we can talk. Now, do I believe in just marching? No. Do I believe in going out there marching? Continue to march. You know.
Hey, Bakari, I'm going to cut you off, but did you see that part when I was showing it?
I just know they went out there.
No, and just because I wanted to get your opinion too, because Martin Luther King the third, you know, I think his son.
Yeah, he spoke there. He spoke.
He did
And a whole bunch of Jews, right?
Yeah, but let me okay, but watch this, right? So why is it? But I'm gonna ask this, because I know people gonna insult the march on Washington because of Martin Luther King. But what came of the march? Why is it okay for Farrakhan them to march in 2015? What the hell did they do? I told you it's like a war, black people versus black people versus black Christians. Because we're gonna point that out and it's gonna be made fun of. But in all honesty, you got the same result from that you got from making like you revolutionary, going out there and don't have a pebble to throw. You go out because nobody said nothing. And that's what bothers me, because there's only a certain group of black people that get picked on. So when they went out there and they went and it became a moment of atonement. Do you know what atonement means? So black people is marching to atone for their wrongdoings that they have done in the United States. But nobody ever pick on them. Ever. 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 So then your next one become, it's for everybody. It's just not for black people. It's for the Mexicans. It's for the Native Americans. It's for everybody. But don't nobody ever say nothing about them. I understand Christians are easy targets, but I don't understand how the people who say they have, I don't have a problem with people having a religion. People can have the religion they want, but I don't understand how people that say we have a problem with religion and we beat up Christians, but then you don't see a problem with that. At least Christians ain't walking around acting like they're revolutionary, most of them. I'm just saying. So why do they get a pass? And this is why I don't talk about none of them, because I just don't want to beat up black folks publicly all the time. But I'm just saying, why do one of them get a pass and the other one don't?
Well, Bakari, that's what I wanted to tell you. Hey, my bad.
Oh, I ain't talking about you. I'm just saying because I've heard people talking about it.
No, I'm saying I wanted to. I'll let you finish though. I just wanted you to comment on something because it ain't really have to do with the Christian thing, but you could tie it back in though, you know. But because hey, me real quick, Bakari. No, because I was saying like, when we was talking about the March on Washington, right? It's like, for the last 60 years, and I'm gonna just show you just the other parts because she was like talking about like, for everybody and all of that stuff. And this was before this. I wanted you to hear these questions they was asking.
Fight for civil rights. We have to The organizers of today's event have made it a point to call the 60th anniversary a continuation of the fight for civil rights, not a commemoration. So how urgent are the issues that are facing all Americans today?
Well, the issues are so challenging, I should say. We've never seen. My dad and mom talked about eradicating the triple evils of poverty, racism, and violence. When we look at poverty numbers, they are higher than they should be in this great country. If we look at racism, it is at an all-time high. Racism against everybody. Racism around black folk, around Jewish people, around Islamic people, around Asian people, and even around Native Americans. This is a better nation than
If we got white girls.
First of all, we had to figure out, how do we come together? How do we bring civility back to the political discourse? We used to be able to disagree without being disagreeable, which is what my father...
And they shot him in the face, like, by the way. My bad.
Community, from the LGBT, from labor, from the African American community, from the Jewish community, from the LGBTQIA community, from the Asian community, from the indigenous community. And we're coming together to say we must create the climate for America to move forward in a forward direction.
Longest coalition in that fight for equality.
Well, I have to say that on January 6, 2021, this nation witnessed an insurrection. Today, on August 26, 2023, we're seeing a resurrection of democracy, a resurrection of us standing together and ADL to ensuring that we...
Hold on, let me see. She was naming everybody. She was pretty much just naming everybody too. Like, yeah, so making sure that, you know, we all...
Is that his sister? Is that his sister?
No, that's his son and his daughter.
Oh, well, so this is the thing. Like, they gonna get up there, he gonna get up there and say whatever because they were broke. You don't remember the family was mad with him because he was trying to sell somebody that offered him $1 million for Martin Luther King Bible, and they really was going through it. He gonna say whatever he gonna say whatever they tell him. Maybe y'all didn't know. Maybe I can know that because I'm around here in the Atlanta area. But yeah, he was trying to sell. He was trying to sell the Bible, and the rest of the sister, whoever else, they were talking about how the Bible meant so much to their dad, they wouldn't sell it. Shit, he was ready to take $1 million for that Bible. And it became...
Hey, Bakari, would you sell your Bible for $1 million?
Hell yeah, but that's me. But yeah, I'll sell my Bible for $1 million. I'll sell my Bible, probably sell it for $20. I don't know, the one my mama gave me, in all honesty, no, I wouldn't sell my Bible. For $1 million, I would. But I wouldn't sell it for nothing less than $1 million. Maybe 999,999. Then I sell it, but I wouldn't. But yeah, man, they were going. So whatever he need to say, and this was public, they was going at it, and whatever he need to say, man, because shit, he was broke. I know I'm just saying he was broke. I don't know. He might not be the type of broke of a regular black person. Well, Dr. Kingdom didn't have no money. They didn't really get paid a lot of money for doing that. They put their life on the line, basically, shit, damn near for free. But so he gonna say whatever. I hate to hear people sit there and equate other people's problems to ours. Like the LGBT, the AL, whoever the hell he said, the indigenous people, and that have nothing to do with us. The indigenous people got their land called a reservation. They ain't offered black folks, even the black folks going around talking about they're Indian. They ain't offered them no land, no house, no nothing. And I literally know people that actually have Native American Dana, DNA. I actually know people that have Native American Dana. I knew this one, she was 12%. No European, she was 12% Native American, 88% African. And her family is suing her. I think she was a Cherokee that owned her ancestors. The family was trying to sue right now because they didn't get to go to college for free. She had to pay for her college. They don't get no land. They wasn't given any land, no house, nothing on that reservation. So I don't know why we always equating other people's problems with ours when those other people is not even thinking about us. I don't agree with that. But I know he gonna say whatever he got to say because he was broke. That was a public spat. I just thought maybe it was nationwide because it was Dr. Martin Luther King children. But yeah, man, they were publicly arguing about that Bible and that money. On that, I yield the mic.
All right, yeah, and I feel what you're saying, Bakari. And that's the thing.
Hold on. But before I finish, though, I'm gonna get back to my point where I said I don't agree with nothing he said, and people will beat him up for saying it. Well, why ain't the other people beat up for saying the exact same thing though? I'm just wondering.
Oh yeah, because I was going to answer that, Bakari. Like, are you telling me people don't be talking about the NOI? Like, yo, they had a chance to do all this other stuff, and like Elijah Muhammad couldn't be like, yo, he did the same thing that he got mad at Malcolm X for. Like, that was kind of hypocritical. Like, you had a whole army that was down to do, you know what I'm saying, whatever. Like, yeah, people be on them all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? People that, still make videos about that, you know what I'm saying? Like, all the time. Like, nobody gives any of us a pass. That's what I'm saying. Like, and it's not so much about them being Christians either, you know what I'm saying? It's about just like with this inclusion with everything. And then 60 years after the civil rights, you know what I'm saying, this is where we are, and one of the things that they don't talk about with the Voters' Right Act, the last thing they tacked on there was the immigration thing that allowed the Asians, the Mexicans, the Arabs, the East Indians, all of them to come here and get funding and set up shop in our neighborhoods. And of course we got to decide to go buy them, but it is what it is. But yeah, make sure. So do you got an opinion about the march now, or
it was just for show pomp and circumstance. They aren't really doing anything. They're talking about it's a resurrection. A resurrection of what? You let the movement die, and they really aren't doing anything. So no, I don't have an expanded opinion. I just think that, like Bakari said, the man was broke. He's going to say and include everyone because everyone is his paymaster. And that is an example of what it's like to truly be a slave.
Yeah, definitely.
Forecast, would you sell your Bible for $1 million?
Yo, my grandma Bible. Yeah, I feel what you say when you like my mom Bible. My grandma Bible. It means a lot to me. What problem?
Hey, they were going. Hey, he been in a lot of stuff, man. So when I saw him and he was speaking, somebody was showing it. I'm like, man, I'm not watching that. Because this is the thing, right? Because I know it's just for show. And I don't want to beat up black people. I promise you. I try not to. So it's just certain things I say I'm not going to watch. I'm not, because I already know what it is. And then I'm being honest, because I do get pissed off. I literally get pissed off. That's why I got pissed off. When was that? 1995. We gonna go do the Million Man March. I forget what it was supposed to be by then. When about time, a week before the march, they changed the name of it. A moment of atonement. I was in the Army. Me and a couple people was gonna go. I ain't take leave. Wasn't going. Because what do we have to atone to this country for? Matron, do you know what we need to atone to this country for?
No, not a dozen.
Yeah, so
yeah, I know I could think of something.
So what? Why do we need to atone?
Because we definitely need to atone for Emmett, or we should have, or we can still atone for a young brother.
But he was talking about for the wrong that we have. What he say? The way we don't protect our women and the things we don't. He was talking about what we don't do is what we need to atone for in the way we act in this country. Just being, and I'm like, wow. It went from being this revolutionary to a moment of atonement. And I'm being honest, man, the older I get, the more irritated I get, and I'm easily irritated. Told you my kids tell me, or they say I'm old and honoring, and I'm not even that old. I'm only 51. But it's just things like I really can't, because like last night. That's why I don't know how long y'all stayed on when I got off, but I can't take that no more. Somebody just coming up changing the topic. Nothing he said had nothing to do with the topic. And I'm like, man, let me get off here, because he is a waste. It was an absolute waste, because I think we need to be building and doing something. I think we need to be building and doing something instead of trying to figure out if Jews was in charge of the mafia. Who gives a shit? Pardon my French. Really, who cares? Or maybe somebody cares. I don't. That's why, like, man, I'm gonna go. The older I get, the more irritated easily irritated, and that ain't got nothing to do with y'all. That's just me, I guess.
No, I feel you, Bakari. But like the thing is, right? Like I feel the same way when y'all be saying that all this ADOS versus all this other stuff. Like I'll be like, I don't even want to like, cause like it's like playing into what they want us to do. Like no matter what side you on, and it's like you always gonna be perceived as saying something negative.
Yep, and that's why I try to stay out of those conversations as well. I've got, man, people can have they can have it. I'm not arguing with nobody. Man, black people got the deal, man. And that just, but I understand, like, some people come around and some things is for distraction, so we can't build. But I'm gonna get back to what this preacher said. We need to be in the streets. And I think I need to push my plan a little bit more, because Highly Favored said she liked the economic plan that I gave. If we want to have community-owned business, yeah, it got to me too. Highly Favored. I think the reason I ain't done that, I'm trying to make sure my kids grown and okay, all the way grown and all the way okay. Hey, but I need to get back to pushing that. I need to get back in these streets. I got to get my excuse me. I have to get more flyers made. Go pass out my flyers. I used to stand out and pass out my flyers. Like I say, the stuff I do on here is the stuff I did out in the you come here, you see the people I know. Most of the people I know is just for me standing on the streets. Don't care where I am, just standing on the streets talking about this. This is how I meet people. This is why I probably have about 800 phone numbers in my phone. People call, I don't remember, but I'm just saying. But hey, when I was out there, more, but then you get tired, because sometimes it seems like it's just me. But I really was able to meet people and able to get some things done, even meeting down to, well, you know what? I'm going to teach women how to use. I'm going to teach women how to use weapons. Those wasn't just women that I knew, not all of them. Some of them was just women that would heard me talking about that and wanted to be a part. So I'll get back to what that preacher. I do believe we will get more done if we pound the pavement, because we actually have good ideas, and I really think the good ideas. And once you put what we do, like the one preacher said, faith without works is dead. But once we put what we're doing and start putting it in action, and people see it in the streets, I really think I really think whatever it is we want to do is gonna blossom. We just got to water it.
All right, so listen, because I had y'all on here like for too long, and by the way, I appreciate, because Matron, I told Matron, like, yo, I was thinking about her when I did this, because especially talking about like the church and like the God thing, because I definitely feel what she talk about when she talk about it, and I understand what you're saying, Bakari. Now it's one more thing I want to show for us, close out with some positive.
Well, man, look, I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna listen.
That's what
It's 12 o'clock. I'm old. And look, I got to get up in the morning, man.
No, yeah, that's what I'm about to say. So I was gonna say both of y'all. If y'all, I would like to hear what y'all have to say, but it was if y'all want to get off of here, I understand. All right, so Bakari, you want to close out right now?
Now, man, I'm just going to, I'm on you, man. Thanks for letting me speak on your panel.
Hey,
Peace
real
to
quick,
everybody.
before you, while you closing out, say is loved out, because it could be love, but or do you think it's spooked out?
I think it's fear. You want to know the honest truth? What I think? I think it's fear. That's what I think it is, especially when they talking to the women, and it's more women saying it. They're gonna always talk to the woman first. I think it's more fear with that forgiveness. Man, especially when they talking to the older people, man, that generation, man, people in their 70s, they have seen a whole lot of stuff. 60s, they seen a whole lot of stuff. They saw a whole lot of stuff in this country. We see a lot now, but they seen more than us. They probably remember where you couldn't walk down the street and it was against the law to laugh in public. If they see you laughing, they can just come snatch you up and put your head in a barrel. The laughing barrel law. So I think it's more fear than love, and I think it's more fear than being spooked out. You know that's what spooked out mean when the KKK was saying that. Man, you got to stop using them KKK terms, man. You know that what that's what the but you know that's what the KKK meant though when they were saying spooked out. Yeah, they were spooked. They were so scared when we came down. What they say when they came down in their white shit, it was just a joke because they was just so afraid of ghosts. What the hell ever? With nobody, y'all coming down, y'all done set up an environment where can't nobody defend themselves. Then you're gonna sit there and lie and say it's a damn joke. So you can say spook, because spook, being spooked out is scared. But I think it's more fear than love. I really think it's more fear than love. It's fear, then shit. Yeah, I guess they figuring I done caught hell on earth. I don't want to catch hell underground. So it's fear of that. It's fear on earth, and it's fear of being burned. Think about this forecast. You ever thought about just being burned in a lake of fire for eternity with brimstone falling out the sky hitting you on your head?
Well, I never thought about it, but
See, now you're thinking about it, right? So now you ready to forgive too, right, and show love, right?
no, I'd rather get hurt than never mind.
But yeah, I think it's more fear, bro. I really do. I think it's more fear from them, and from each generation has some of that fear toward them, but we don't have it. But think about this, each generation had people that feared other folks, but none of our generations had fear. Well, we feared each other. Not saying that we should be trying to put fear in each other, if you understand what I'm saying. We never had that respect and all that for ourselves. No, think about it, no generation. But we always had that respect for them. Ain't that something?
Yeah.
But on that note, I'm gonna get out of here, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
But by the way, when you say spook out, I think you mean like when we think of like mystic kind of stuff and like even like
I'm just messing with you. I know you ain't saying no. I know you ain't saying no stuff like no Ku Klux Klan. I'm just messing with you.
Well,
I know you ain't saying
that.
But I think spooked. I really thought when you saying spook, you saying spook, or he saying. I really thought you were saying fear like me, because I really think that's what it is. So, that's what I think. Spook isn't part of it too. But man, I'm gonna say this before we go. Like I said, I was watching one of these African shows. I watch some Nollywood movies, and I was watching this one about Amina, Queen Amina. It turned out, she was a real person, and it was based on a true story. But it was something I noticed in that movie. This is something our people always did, man. And this was over in Nigeria. They are over there. They are putting, before they go to war, then they're talking to, I guess, the spiritual leader, and they're putting spirits to cover their body so the bullets don't penetrate them. Well, you know what happened when they went out there and the people started shooting at them, right? The bullets penetrated their them bullets was killing them. But I'm like, they really believed that what they was doing was going to stop the bullets from hurting them. They didn't need guns. They had swords. They got this. They had those swords and hatchets or whatever. They got this protection from the bullets, so when they get closer, they can kill them. But they never got closer. So, man, I just think that's something we always did, bro. I just think that's something we always did.
Yeah, look how it worked out. But yeah, I feel you, my brother.
It don't work. Look, it don't work at all. So look how it worked out. It didn't work well.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get off here, man. I got to get up at 4 in the morning and go drive this truck and drive that damn Moffitt.
All right, boy.
All right, Matron, it was great being on here with you.
It's always great to see you too, Brother Bakari. I'll see you later.
Hey, when you gonna read my book, Once Upon a Time When We Were Colored?
It's already on my platform.
You read it already?
I read it already.
Oh, man. You know that book is about my hometown, right?
Yeah, Glen Allen.
Yeah, that's my hometown. That's literally based on the true story. Everybody they talk about in that book. He talk about my grandmom in the book too. Everybody he talk about in that book. I know they folk. I know them elders. Well, a couple of them was dead. Remember when he was? You remember the part about Cooterman? Yeah, Cooterman used to live next door to me. Well, I used to live next door to him. Yeah, I know everybody in that book. Yeah, that's a true story. That's literally about my hometown.
But yep, I sure did read it.
I don't know, man. I don't be getting my when did you read it?
2 weeks ago.
Why I never get my notifications? Well, they had unsubscribed me too. So I'm gonna have to go back and check it out. Yeah, I wanted to be there when you read it. Written by Clifton Talbot. Yeah, I know all of them. Everybody he was talking about. Well, you know, someone was dead when I came up. I just knew they folk.
It was a good book, and it's a lot for us to think about.
Yeah, you remember the part where he was talking about how the people from down south went to places like Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis, and was coming back lying, talking about how much money they made.
Yeah.
And then when he went up there, he realized that shit, they had it no better than the people down south.
Yeah. That's true to this day.
Yeah, he say, because I know he was talking one time. He said when he went to Detroit, it was 14 people living in a 2-bedroom project apartment. And he left there and went to St. Louis, and it was 10 people living in a 1-bedroom project apartment. And he said that's why he went back to Mississippi, because he realized, like he said, he came back. Man, them people lying. They ain't making that kind of money. They ain't doing it like they say they doing it.
Yeah. And they never are.
No, you know they did a movie too, right?
Yeah, I saw the movie.
Yeah. Hey, my town still look like that today. We still look like that today, mate.
Beautiful and quaint, huh? With the shotgun houses and all.
Yeah, it ain't as clean today. But all right, man, let me get over here. Forecast, you need to check it out, man. Go listen to that book.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Peace. I'm gonna listen offline, man.
All right. All right. Now, Matron, and I think I appreciate you for coming on here, because I kind of called you out. Matron came on here, stood up, cause I know you be saying the truth all the time. That's why I be kind of trolling you a little bit. I was gonna say like you got like 10 more minutes, but I know it's been a long time. So like, you want to go?
No, I got you. I'll watch your last piece, like 10, 20 minutes. I got time.
All right, cool. That's what's up, because, and this is why I would probably pick you if I ever had to do like a partner or something to speak on, because I want to see, like, this is a history thing, right? So this is like some about to be taught in the school stuff. So a short history, because First Rifleman wanted to come on here, so we'll let us have his representation for today. But I want to show you this, so check it out, right?
And now for a brief history of slavery. Here's the first thing you need to know. Slavery was not invented by white people. It did not start in 1619 when the first slaves came to Jamestown. It existed before then. It did not start in 1492 when Columbus discovered the New World. In fact, when the intrepid explorer landed in the Bahamas, the native Taino tribe hoped that he would help them defeat their aggressive neighbors, the Caribs. The Caribs enslaved the Taino and, on occasion, served them for dinner. Slavery.
No, explain to is that first one. Is that true or not?
I've never heard that. So I'm
Especially,
gonna say that is probably one of those fantastical tales, because they have these books that were written by explorers that were fiction tales, and then they have books that were written by people that were actually documenting the information. So you may be able to find that in a book, but it's probably a work of fiction.
That's deep right there, because we all know who was eating people here. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real.
Exactly, and who was digging up corpses to eat people, and what other people practice cannibalism.
Facts. And also, 1492, it was not the first time, because Europeans have been doing that since they came out of the mountains or the spaceships or wherever they came from.
It existed in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. The words.
Now, you see the states, the countries that she named, right?
Slavery existed in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. The word slave actually comes from the Slavs of Eastern Europe. Millions of them.
Hold on. How's she gonna say that it comes from the Slavs of Eastern Europe, which is predominantly white, but she's not going to say that slavery was there? How does that work?
Did slavery originate? And and by the way, they're the only ones who did. They went against their own rules. Even the ones in America, that's why they burning the hell by their own religion, because even in a doctrine of discovery, you're not supposed to do certain things, but they went against their own religion. You know what I'm saying? That whole passed down to the woman thing, that's against their religion by itself. You know what I'm saying? But other things, if you look at the doctrine of discovery, but
Yeah, exactly. And the reality is, she's talking about slavery, and slavery existed in other places and it's an ancient practice, but can we talk about chattel slavery? And is she gonna have that same smoke for what chattel slavery is? But okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, cut it off every time, because that's why I would have Matron as a debate partner. You know what I'm saying? If it ever came down to
were captured and enslaved by Muslims in the 9th century and later by the Ottoman Turks. Slavery existed when the Roman Empire controlled the Mediterranean and most of Europe from the 1st through the 5th centuries. Slavery existed when Alexander the Great conquered Persia in the 4th century BC. It was so common that Aristotle simply considered it natural. The slave master model was just how the world operated in the great philosopher's day. Slavery existed during the time of the ancient Egyptians 5,000 years ago. As far back as we can go in human history, we find slavery.
Is that accurate stuff right there?
Yeah, but we don't find chattel slavery. Slavery could be, I'm at my uncle's house and I'm working for my uncle, like in the Bible, okay? Like the story of, I forget which one it was, but he went to his uncle's house and he worked for the man for 7 years. Well, slavery they had a different type of relationship with the people that they quote unquote enslaved, or the people that were in service to the household and to the family. So that's kind of true, but that's misrepresented.
Yeah, exactly. That's propaganda, you know what I'm saying? But this is about to be in the schools, and yeah, I agree. There's no sense of trying to convince someone, because the minute that they do something, she will be like racist, like the people who came to her house, or she almost got in trouble for liking the Super Bowl show that time. But all right, so let's go with our lesson.
As renowned historian John Steele Gordon notes from time immemorial, slaves were a major item of commerce. As much as a third of the population of the ancient world was enslaved. Here's the second thing you need to know. White people were the first to formally put an end to slavery. In 1833, Britain...
Now, Matron, I'm going to ask you, who's the first people to free slavery on by law?
No, It was actually, I think, the ancient Asians, the ancient Chinese, because they were the ones that decided that this system wasn't working for them. So, no, she's talking about perhaps in the modern world or in the West, maybe she's saying. I don't know, but she has it wrong. She has it wrong.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's definitely why I would, but I would have said like Haiti did it in like 1804, right? Even
Haiti
in
did
the
it in
West.
1804, but we're talking about, there were African nations and African tribes and empires that had outlawed slavery before that. But I mean, if we're talking about in the West, I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know what she's talking about.
Facts. That's true. That's true. I didn't even think about that. All right.
Was the first country in the history of the world to pass a Slavery Abolition Act. They were quickly followed by France, who in 1848 abolished slavery in her many colonies. Then, of course, came the 13th Amendment in the United States Constitution. After centuries of human slavery, white men led the world in putting an end to the abhorrent practice.
Now, is that a correct statement or?
No, that is not a correct statement. That is not a correct statement. The reality of the situation is that white men wanted slavery to continue, and they didn't want the responsibility for the slaves because there were laws and rules around how you had to do things for an enslaved person. But again, she's talking about the broader term slavery, which is basically service, versus chattel slavery, which is what we experienced here. And so to try to parallel those two and make this presentation is not honest. It's not academically and intellectually honest.
Yeah, it's about to be the curriculum. And also, does the 13th Amendment abolish slavery?
No, it did not abolish slavery. The 13th Amendment made it illegal to involuntary servitude. It made it illegal for people to be a slave. It made it legal for people to continue to be a slave if they volunteered for it. You're a slave when you go to work every day. You're a slave to the cost of living by existing on this planet every day. So I don't know what she's talking about.
And see, that's why I was, everybody else would have been like, yeah, the 13th Amendment, except if you get whatever. You're the first person that, yeah, voluntary servitude is legal like a mug. We do it every single day. Like, it literally says it in their law, and you're the only person that say that. Everybody else go with it, except if convicted of a crime, and because that's the easy one. But that's why I would pick you as a debate partner, because I like that. Yeah, it's Prager U. They said they was gonna have this in Florida, I guess,
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that too. And I'm just like, that's scary because these children, it's already differences in the curriculum that's taught nationwide, but at least we'll have a point of rebuttal. But she's just she's just presenting this information and it's all lies. It's misrepresented. It's out of context because without the context of what chattel slavery is, which is reducing a human being down to a beast of burden, taking away all of their personal rights, human rights, their ability to have any self-determination and all of those other things, it's just crazy to sit there and think that this is real, but this is real.
Facts. That's what I'm saying. All right, so let me play the rest of this.
That includes the 300,000 Union soldiers, overwhelmingly white, who died during the Civil War.
Now, Major, how many black people died by their hands of just this one incident?
Millions. What are they talking about? During the Civil War, the Union soldiers got with the Confederate soldiers to kill black people. Brother Bakari just reminded us of that, talking about the Devil's Punch Bowl. And they continued, that wasn't the only incident of that. They would starve black people in small numbers that were running away because they were still property. And when you reduce a human being to the status of property, you are saying that I can do anything I want to do to this thing because it's not a person. And the fact that they brainwashed and convinced themselves that human beings that were talking, thinking, living, sentient beings that they wanted to have sex with and procreate with were beasts shows you the depravity of their consciousness. But okay.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And not only that, um, of course, Lincoln, when they was quote unquote freeing the slaves, Lincoln was like, "Yo, don't do that. We don't want to make the white people up here who own slaves mad." And also, you heard of the Ebenezer Creek Massacre before, Matron?
I have heard of that.
Yeah, and that is something else that the Union soldiers did, and that's where that 40 acres and a mule, that whole story come from. But they left women, children, all of those behind to be slaughtered, and both of them, what I'm saying, is to be responsible. So 300,000 is not quite enough. You're short on your debt. And what happens if you pay? You said millions, so it's like what, like MG2 is like what, like 6%? I forgot the percentage. 12% of your bill. What happened if you pay 12% of your bill, Major? Your cable bill.
Your cable gets shut off. Your cables, unless you make a payment arrangement, your cable still gets shut off. Shut it off. Shut it down.
Down. Yeah. All right.
Soldiers, overwhelmingly white, who died during the Civil War. Now, am I saying that this makes white people better than anyone else? Of course not. My purpose here.
But she is. She picked a white man as her partner. She is. She is saying that. She is saying that. See, because who you decide to partner with and procreate with is who you think is better. That's who you think the better choice is. And she picked a white man. So she is saying that. She hates herself. She is a self-hating, cooned out Negro, negress that hates herself and all of her people.
He said, "Am I saying white people are better than everybody else?" Of course not, Matron. I don't know. Yeah, Texas did say that, Bukhari, that we were migrant workers, but it's not nothing new. Like, I mean, I was there. They was trying to tell me Christopher Columbus discovered America. You know what I'm saying? And remember when they asked me an African country, I couldn't tell you. I'm a product of American school systems. You know what I'm saying? So, all right.
Tell the truth. And the truth is that human history is complicated. No one, regardless of skin color, stands guiltless. Yet today we are never told to consider the murderous Persian Empire or the cannibalism of indigenous tribes of North and South America or the heinous actions under the imperialistic Muslim, Chinese, Mongol, or Japanese empires, to name just a few.
Now, they always be like the natives was cannibals. Do you think they were, Matron?
No, I think they may have practiced ritualized cannibalism like they practice in the Christian church. But no, I don't think that they were actually cannibals.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Because I think like when they used to be like Indians with the scalping thing, they used to scalp the Indians first, and then the Indians do it back to them. You know what I'm saying? And then they said, well, look at what they've done. They killed 2 of us, and they just slaughtered like 532, and they'd be like, this is a loss for us. But they tried to put the scalping thing on, and I'm saying Indians on purpose. You know what I'm saying? But they put the scalping thing on Indians. And
They always try to do that. They always try to throw back their abhorrent behavior on the people that they're actually trying to conquer. And I think that that's their strategy, because if they point the finger at someone else, then people aren't looking at what they actually are doing and who they actually were and who they actually have been. I heard a story that was talking about the fact that during some famine that the Ukrainians were killing dogs and killing children to eat. So no, they just are pointing the finger to distract you from what it is that they actually do.
Yep. And I don't know if it's delusion, but they got that down pack. They be lying, and they know they be lying, and they don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's no point of debating them. I just like to troll them and piss them off. But Yeah, it's projection all the time. That's what that's a psychopathic trait. It's called projection. They call you everything that is not the truth, and then we go by everything they say. Like their science could be wrong because they be like, scientifically, race, we're all human. That's not true. Like, it's a different species. How do you know? Like, it's like albedo. That's what they'll call it in the scientific term. Their skin reflects light, and a little bit that gets through burns them. Like, so their vitamin D is different from yours. Like, you have to have whole different societies and they understand this. This is why they can lie and keep you in the position that you're in. And we so much that maybe we love them. Maybe we love it. I don't know. Maybe it's real love. My bad. Yeah, it's a different definition from discovered. They discovered America.
Instead,
It's almost over.
we're told that slavery is a white phenomenon. And like all persistent lies, this lie spawns a bunch of other lies. On social media, I come across extraordinary depictions about how Africans lived like pharaohs before Europeans came and laid waste to their paradise. I wish any of this were true, but it's not. It's a fantasy. The truth.
Thank God we would be in Africa praying to a tree right now, y'all.
Oh my goodness, we would at least be peaceful. We would at least have our land. We would at least know our history. We would at least walk around knowing who we were with a sense of identity instead of allowing all these labels to be put on us. So even if I was praying to a tree or I saw the divinity in a tree, because that's really, I think, our nature is to see the divinity in all things, then I would rather be there than to be here.
You know what's crazy, Matron? We see the divinity in all things so much that we try to see divinity in something that is not divine, which is these very people here or species. I'm not going to get you implicated in what I'm saying. So, all right.
That Africans were sold into slavery by other Black Africans, and in many cases,
now I hear
sold
this
for items
all
as
the
trivial
time.
as gin and mirrors. Whites didn't go into the interior and round up the natives. They waited on the coast for their Black partners to bring them Black bodies.
Now, this is true. Do you know, Matron, do you know when the interior of Africa was actually started to get invaded?
In the 18th century, right?
Or and after the 1880s, when they started doing the that convention they had, what was it
The
called?
Berlin Conference.
Yeah. After that, that's when they had it was like 5 or 10, I forget the percent, like 5 or 10% of the interior of Africa. Like they had not seen a white person before that. You know what I'm saying? Like only a few people, maybe like the Zulu, have seen them just a few years before that, but they never got into the interior of Africa until 1880s.
Right. And when she talks about the fact that these African and their African partners brought them about, they're dismissing the fact that one of the greatest enslavers were the Islamicized Africans, which is why Islam is not the religion that we should go to. And the fact that these kings were often pressured into these deals because it was all about the trade. So we're good traders and business people, and we seem to not apply that to our everyday life. But you can see it right now on Facebook where it's like everybody got a small business or a side hustle. So again, she's misrepresenting the reality of the situation.
Yeah, and I got a couple quick questions, right? So Arabs, right, was because they be like Africans. Do they include Arabs as the people who were selling each quote unquote each other?
Say that again. You say, do they include Arabs? Did they
Yeah,
sell each other?
like was it mostly Arabs or was it like Black people?
It was mostly Islamicized Black people. So they were Black, but they were practicing Islam. You know what I mean? Pt2, I think his name was, but he was Black, but he was from Islam. He was a practicing Muslim. So how can they equate what he did and attribute that to all Black people when he had a different ideology? His religion was what led him. And the African kings that did it were doing it for different reasons. So they were often pressured into those different arrangements with these white people. That's why the African system of community and one man, one vote and true democracy is a better system for us, because we all were not going to go along with what they wanted to go along with. So, no, it was the Islamicized Africans that did those types of things.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not going to ask you because you already know, but when people say this, I would encourage you to ask them, like, okay, when Africans so other, I would be like, when, like who, like which tribe, nation, or leader did this, what time frame, and for how long? Do you know like the average like lifespan before you get kidnapped was for southern slaves? Matron?
I don't know it, no.
Well, I mean, I can't tell you the exact number, but like I've only seen like maybe one or two that was able to do it for 20 like kind of year, like one tribe that was able to do it for like 20 plus years. Most of them got kidnapped with the thing, and that's why like most of the leaders start like being like, yo, what's going on? Like my cousin ain't come back either. You ain't supposed to take him. And then, it is something a lot of them be like, and then they didn't understand who Europeans were. We still don't understand who Europeans are, but
I think we don't want to accept who Europeans are. I think that we do know. I don't think that it's just ignorance like it was initially. I think that it's hard, because even in getting up and going to work every day, you know, it's difficult to acknowledge these people are really the animals. These are the depraved beasts. These people, practice bestiality. They practice they continue to practice and force us to practice ritualized cannibalism, which means they will probably practice real cannibalism. These people are cave beasts. They don't have any value of human life, not even their own, because it's everybody against the African. And if you're one of us and you try to be for the African, we're against you too. So I think that we know who they are. We just have a hard time to accept who they are. And like you said, we're trying to see the divine in everything, that we're trying to find the divine in the big white abyss of who they are. So
they would call it a black hole. I like the white abyss. Well, yeah. All right, so let's finish this, John, up real quick.
The stark reality is that our lives had very little value to our ancestors.
Oh, boy.
Here's the third thing you need to know. If you think slavery is a relic of the past, you're wrong. There are some 700,000 slaves in Africa today, right now. That's the lowest estimate that I could find. Other sources say there are many more. For context, that's almost twice as many slaves as were ever brought to the United States. Child soldiers, human trafficking, forced labor. These are the conditions that currently exist within the same sub-Saharan region where the transatlantic slave trade originated. African bodies are being sold.
So not only did our ancestors think we was worthless, they got her on camera saying that, she thinks her ancestors think that they're worthless. And they be like, well, yeah, only in Africa this goes on. She only pointed out Africa at that, on purpose. Of course, that's her job, but also this is like supposedly going to be incorporated. I don't doubt it, because we think Christopher Columbus discovered America. So, but you heard that, Matron?
I heard what she said, but I mean, the white people thought that their heirs and their children were worthless as well. So, okay, if it's true that our ancestors felt that we were worthless, which is not true. We had our own internal tribal wars, and our conquerors felt that we were worthless. That's true. But white people sent their nieces and nephews away or slaughtered them, or the Ottomans did the same thing. They practiced fratricide and infanticide. They killed their fathers and infant children because they were trying to hold on to power. So what is she talking about? As though this is an African phenomena, that you become a conquered people in a land and you get caught up or you get tricked and to go to the shore and you get sent away. That is not an exclusively African phenomenon, but the violence of killing your father, killing your brothers, killing your siblings, killing any infant heirs that might be in the place, or sending them away and disowning them. That is what these other people did. So what is she talking about?
Yeah, I agree, and not only that, it's well, let me finish it up.
Sold today like they were sold then. And no, they are not being purchased by any country of white men. In fact, slavery, by any traditional definition, is exclusively practiced today within non-white countries. But we hear almost nothing about that. Just like we hear nothing about how slavery was universal until good people in Europe and America ended it 2 centuries ago. Why? Because our so-called leaders, black and white, wouldn't profit from it. Black victimhood is nothing if not profitable. It elects politicians and funds racial grievance groups. And if Black Americans began to view themselves as partners in the American dream, if we embraced the patriotic spirit that holds all men are created equal, the patriotic spirit that is our real heritage, then the race hustlers would soon be out of business. And who wants that? I'm Candace Owens.
Now, she won't be out of business anytime soon because she does make a lot of money doing what she does, placating. But yeah, Matron. So that was it though. And that's why I appreciate you, because you have the knowledge to really break this down, and we can really see what she's talking about. Which is a bunch of BS, and we know that. But yeah, go ahead.
She's the race baiter. I mean, she just says what white people want to say, and she is their Black spokesperson. And like I said, she picked a white man as her partner. So she does feel that white people are better than Black people, because you trying to tell me out of all the Black men that she comes in contact with, that she couldn't find one that was a suitable partner if she wanted to really be about that life. But based on her content, you know that she's not. So um, she's doing what she's paid to do, to be a Black voice to the white perspective.
Yeah, she makes a lot of money doing it, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people do it for free out here. That's by the way. But, and that's it. I don't know if this is our nature to be spooked out, because you felt I understand what Bakari was saying, because they be like, yo, these spooks and all that other stuff. But I think, because I got it from John Henry Clark, and he was talking about being spooked out. Like, we always believed in metaphysical stuff. We is the number one conspiracy theories, but it ain't nothing that we can use based in reality. You know what I'm saying? And that'd be my thing that would make me worry sometimes about is church, should we be using it? Because I understand how they used it and they have protection. Y'all was right about all of that. And all of that is facts, but it still gives us this spooked out thing. We still would invite the pale face in. We used to invite them in to do whatever ritual we was doing. Now we invite them into the cookout. You know what I'm saying? And you'll find brothers that'll cater for them all the time, sisters that'll cater for them all the time, even though they are Black like the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, they get paid, and he's no different than Jesse Lee Peterson. But I don't know. It could be love. It could be, you know what I'm saying? We could really love them. I don't know. You think they really love them, Matron?
No, I don't think that they really love them. I think that they have been so epigenetically changed that they fear them, and that they have to first confront and kill the nigger inside and the white man that is talking to them. We have to get to a point where we're standing up to these people, and we're standing on truth, or we're standing on our most powerful ancestors, instead of standing on the shoulders of this weak idea of fantasy that we continue to perpetuate. That's why I don't teach my niece about the Judeo-Christian edicts, and I don't take her to their churches and and have her participate in their rituals. She knows about God, she knows some things, but she has a more holistic view and perspective of these things. And we have to get to the point where we're teaching our children about the one true universal God instead of letting them get caught up and lost in the fantasy of the God of the gods in the Bible.
Yeah, and if you're gonna forgive anybody, why don't you forgive your brother? Because you know why? Because it ain't no repercussions when you go at somebody who's lesser than you. But that's a whole nother topic. Yo, Matron, like, all right, this 30 seconds. This is our closeout video. All right, this is the positive thing. I'm gonna skip the other positive stuff and just show this positive thing. Now, this would make more sense because I showed this dude the other day. He was mad at the Shakari Richardson thing, only talking to black reporters, right? So he's trying to put this sister on blast. But the important thing is this video to the corner here. You know what I'm saying? Because I tried to get the video by itself, but that's the only important part.
Ow! Bitch, I'm just never your motherfucking life, ho! Put your hands on me! Don't never put your hands on me! On my motherfucking mama, you got me fucked up! Don't you never, ho! Fuck wrong with you! Get me off this motherfucking road! Touch me, ho! Wait! I'll beat your ass like you stole something, bitch! Put your hands on me, ho! You got me fucked up! You got me fucked up on this mug! You don't know me like that! Don't put your hands on me, ho! Fuck your mouth, bitch! Bleed out!
All right, I'm sorry. I don't implicate Matron in none of that. That's all me. You know, Matron has nothing to do with that. But I had to play that. So, you know, I'll let you go ahead and close out Matron. Thank you for coming on here because I kind of called Matron out, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'll let you off the hook, you know what I'm saying, today. But, you know, when I'm joking, I appreciate you coming through.
I appreciate you for having me on your panel. I always have a good time when I talk to you. And Brother Bakari and anybody else whose panel I have the ability to come on. So thank you for having me. Thank you for calling me out. And, you know, like I said, it's fear and it's tradition. We don't have our own traditions that have been truly natural, that have been passed down to us. So we adopt the traditions of foreigners, aliens, and invaders. And we have to get to the point where we're really looking at this stuff with a more holistic view. And we have to get back to what is natural for us instead of adopting what it is that they would have us to do. Because what they would have us to do will only have us and keep us perpetually enslaved. Thank you for having me, and I'll talk to you a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Matron. Shouts out to Matron, you know, because I appreciate having those conversations, especially when we start talking about the spooked out stuff. And, you know, I agree with her perspective on it. Cause like, you know, I'd be worried though, you know, cause I'd be thinking that, you know, we ain't gonna get it together. We just gonna be on this love thing forever. We gonna be on this forgive thing forever. And I'd be worried because all we do is just pray, you know. Do say, yo, we're gonna pray first, and then we're gonna say, the Lord is gonna be with me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all we do. And then all we do is criticize. Every time I show something positive, it's guaranteed somebody's gonna say something negative. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, I appreciate all of y'all for coming on here. Yeah, definitely great information, Matron. And yeah, we definitely needed First Rifleman wanted to come on here earlier, and I'll give y'all a taste of First Rifleman here. You know what I'm saying? So, but shouts out to Bakari for coming on here too. Shouts out to Shanique for coming on. All right, what up, Hardcore and Don, whatever, you know. But yo, shouts out to Cassandra Rome in the Bush. Y'all support what Cassandra is doing because she's not just talking, she's doing stuff, not just criticizing, carrying on the minstrel show. Shouts out to Highly Favored, you know what I'm saying? Definitely shouts out to Raw, always in the building, always love, yo. Raw is the truth. And if I ask her the answer, she already knows what the answer is. The one and only answer. So shouts out to Erica Howard, you know what I'm saying? Appreciate her. And again, definitely I appreciate Matron because I wanted her perspective when we start talking about this kind of stuff. So thank her for you know, the time that she you know, and the information, and appreciate Bakari. And you know what, y'all, I'll play this anyway, but I'm gonna play it again because this is where y'all at right now. And for our last words. All right. Let me share the screen. My bad. All right, this is gonna be our last words here.
Tonight on The Patriot Factor, we are here with special guest Darren Coates, pastor of New Love Worship Center. Pastor.
Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Thanks for coming. So, $10.5 million in property damages since the Brady trial ended. You have a question for those angry Black protesters out there.
The question I have for those protesters is that, do Black lives really matter? And I say no. Black lives does not matter. They won't not matter. And they can't not matter until Black on Black crime is eliminated.
Wow. Preach, preacher.
Blacks is confused. Don't nobody know what to do. Confused. What I'm gonna do? Am I gonna raise a fist? Or am I gonna march? Am I gonna march? Or am I gonna take a knee? Riot. Loot. What? And you know what the answer is, Sarah? Prayer.
Yes, Lord.
Prayer, Sarah. I get down on both knees. 2 knees, not one.
Yes.
And I pray. I pray that the same God who saw us through the middle passage will see us through this.
Amen.
Amen, sister?
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
All right, man. So yeah, I appreciate y'all for watching. Thank all of y'all for coming through. You know what I'm saying? My bad for yesterday. I had to indulge. Like, y'all give me a break. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on it. But it's all good. As always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.